everyone. Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Great show today, folks. I am excited because we're going to sit down today with a man who's not only a legend, but connected to a legend. And something that I'm excited about because it connects directly to my childhood, my lineage. And boy, this book I got to read over the weekend, this novel, absolutely exciting. Absolutely a wonderful novel, spy thriller that I had a great time with. I'm going to encourage it for your summer reading, as I think you're going to get an absolute kick out of it. Beau L'Amour is my guest today, and he is the son of legendary American novelist Louis L'Amour. I'm just going to bring him in. We're going to get to this. Beau L'Amour, again, the son of Louis L'Amour. Louis L'Amour, I believe Beau was at 109 books that he am I exaggerating here? Was it 85, 109? Was it
90? This would be 92 novels and about 250 short stories. The short stories have been packaged different ways. So you might say there's different numbers of, if you wanted to, there's different numbers of books. I think we've got about 130 something books in print, but some of those double up some of the short stories. So I like to say 92 novels and about 250 short stories.
That's amazing.
And then we're more accurate. That's
amazing. And of course, originally, your father was from North Dakota. We record out of Minnesota. So I have to ask you this. You're located in California. I take it you grew up in California, correct?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Did he ever take you back to North Dakota? I have to know.
Mm-hmm, sure. We went back a couple of times, most prominently in the early 70s, I think, when I was about 12 or so.
I got to know what's your favorite North Dakota memory before we get this thing started.
Oh, it's got to be probably canoeing on the James River. That was that was pretty wonderful, and an education in exactly how many ways you could dunk a canoe. So it was pretty good. Yeah, so that was amazing. The other thing that I was struck with, I don't think I understood it at the time, but driving around a little bit, in that area of the upper Midwest, how much kind of like streamlined modern architecture there was. I was surprised about that. I couldn't have described it at the time. I've only later been able to put some terminology to my memories. Yep. But I was sort of like, what is all this? That's odd. And I still find it odd, and I think it's very interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, to me, I don't know why most people that go through North Dakota are like Dairy Queen, Wall Drug. That was it. That's all I got out of it. But I'm glad you have those memories of North Dakota. It's a little bit different than what most people have, which is good. That's good. Yeah. I gave you before the show a little bit of my experience with your father's early days and what my experience of his novels were, which aren't typical. I think he had written under a pseudonym earlier in his career, Tex Burns. He wrote the Hopalong Cassidy stuff. We had talked about it, that it wasn't necessarily one of his favorite times in his career. If you want to explain a little bit to our audience about why it wasn't one of his favorite times.
Sure. In the late 40s and early 50s, the pulp magazine business was dying. It was being killed off by radio and television and the increasing popularity of paperback books. My dad had a pretty good career. It wasn't enough to make him well off or anything like that, but he could pay his rent off of his pulp writing. And the magazine started going out of business. He didn't quite know how to do the next thing, transition to writing paperback originals or whatever it was he was going to do. And Leo Margulies, the head of Standard Magazines, got him the job of writing several episodes for a Hopalong Cassidy magazine, which was being created to parallel the Hopalong Cassidy TV show. And he told them that he only wanted to write Hopalong Cassidy if he could write Hopalong Cassidy like the old Clarence Mulford novels that he had grown up on as a kid. And they said yes. And then partway through the program, they kind of got back to him and they sort of said, no, it's like Hopalong has got to be this guy who's got this white horse, and he wears this very kind of Tom Mix style kind of black uniform with all kinds of silver pieces. He's a kid's kind of comic book cowboy, and you have to represent him that way. And so my dad changed the horse and changed the costume and did some stuff and then entered, descriptions that sort of downplayed some of the stuff. And I remember one of the stories, he managed to sort of leave the horse somewhere, get another horse, and things like this. But he wasn't particularly happy with having to make those changes. He also wasn't particularly happy with being asked to write under this other name. What would happen is the pulp magazines would ask their writers at times, if they were writing a series, to write under a house name, a house pseudonym, in this case, Tex Burns. And that was so if they didn't like your work, or if you wanted too much money or something like that, they could get rid of you and substitute in another writer, and the public would still think the same writer was writing the stuff. And he was very aware of that. He had been a substitute writer under a house name previously in his career, and he thought it was kind of a scam, and wasn't particularly happy with that editor. And I think his personal displeasure with that person kind of rubbed off on the books, and he built up kind of a dislike to the books, which I don't know that he would have maintained if he had gone back and reread them. They're very similar to a lot of stuff that he wrote early in his career. There are fans out there of the Lance Kilkenny books, which are books that he wrote under his own name a couple of years later. And I would say that Hopalong and Kilkenny are quite similar to one another, and the way the books are constructed and everything else is very similar. I don't think there's really a reason to for his displeasure about it, except for the fact that he didn't like this particular guy.
Yeah. And so the way this comes around to me, folks, I'm not trying to make it about me, but my Uncle Bob, which you guys have heard, you've heard him on this show, and he's co-hosted with me both on the paranormal side and here on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. He's the one who, when I was a child, gave me a bunch of his old cowboy books. So I got The Lone Ranger, I got Gene Autry, I got Hopalong Cassidy. One of those Hopalong Cassidy books that I got from Tex Burns, Louis L'Amour, was Hopalong Cassidy and the Riders of the High Rock. And I got a couple other, I think I got two other ones too. And again, they're somewhere here in my bookshelf. But all originals from the 50s, all hardback, hardcover. And treasured. They're all treasured. But as I went to Goodreads, I was a little heartbroken to see that they weren't Louis' favorite.
Well, and that also probably answers the question we were discussing earlier. The last one was Troubleshooter, Hopalong Cassidy Troubleshooter, and that one, because you have the hardcovers, that probably means that Doubleday stopped publishing, but the Hopalong Cassidy magazine published all four.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. But there's others there, and your father's huge repertoire resume. You've got Hondo, you've got the Sackett series, you've got Last of the Breed. You've got a ton of these legendary books that he has out there. And a huge name to build on. And you've been curating these collections. Not only that, but you've been taking some of the stuff that, much like any great artist or author or anybody, they have material that's been left behind much after they're gone. Your father left us in 1988, right?
Yep.
I mean, I graduated high school in 1988. I can't, I mean, that seems like a lifetime ago, but he left us with that much rich material that you've been curating some of this and releasing some of this. This book, Skyring Water, I bring that up to bring this up, is based on what?
This book, so my dad let's see how to get the history of this right. In the late 1950s, with maybe a dozen modestly successful Western novels under his belt, my dad really decided that what he really wanted to do is expand his catalog and write things that are other than Westerns, intermix the Westerns with other subject matter, other genres. When he had been writing for the pulp magazines, he could write a crime novel one day and an adventure novel the next day and a Western novel the day after that. Or not novel, but short story. And he liked mixing it up. There were all kinds of places that he wanted to go in his creative work. And so he started creating all kinds of different ideas. And many of those different ideas got into this series you're talking about, which is the Louis L'Amour's Lost Treasures series. So I've put many of those unfinished ideas. I've also into a couple of books. I've also put kind of a bonus features, the story behind the story of many of the well-known novels and books of short stories that are already on the market. So I've filled those things in. It's almost like a professional biography of Louis L'Amour if you buy those editions.
Yeah.
But in that same period, he wrote a lot of things that didn't get published because at exactly that time, the paperback business in particular, where he was doing most of his work, started to change. The paperback books were racked by a publisher. And so there would be a rack for the Dell books. There'd be a rack for the Bantam books. There'd be a rack for the Ace books. And around 1958, there ended up being so many paperbacks. It had become such a popular format, and it had made its way out of drugstores and bus stations and stuff like that, and into regular bookstores. And they said, this is getting too confusing. We want to do what we call integration. We want to get rid of the publishers' racks and move all the titles together, but we have to organize them somehow. And so this is where the idea of genre sections of the bookstore was born. So when you see paperbacks, they will often say on the spine, they'll say Western, or they'll say science fiction or mystery or whatever. And so now we had a mystery section, now we had a Western section. Well, Louis was, like I said, modestly successful in the Western section. And although he had started creating all this different material and wanting to do other things, the publishers and the bookstores were pushing back, and they were saying, no, the only place where somebody knows where to find you is in the Western section. And if you want to go write in another genre, it would be a really good idea for you to create the thing he really didn't want to do, a pseudonym to write under, so that writer could be found in that place. And so he already had an objection to doing that. He didn't like doing that.
Yeah.
And so he kind of dropped back to writing Westerns and then did many things to expand the possibilities within the Western genre. But prior to doing that, he generated a bunch of ideas. He wrote The Walking Drum, which was like a 12th century, almost kind of Crusades era adventure story that wasn't published for 25 years. So he wrote that book and couldn't publish it. He also wrote a version of this book, Skyring Water, which was, if the current version, our version of Skyring Water is 5 acts, Louis's version of Skyring Water was mostly Act 4.
Okay.
And so it was a piece that was a complete adventure novel, but it was much more of kind of the men's adventure magazine type novels rather than this big kind of espionage thriller adventure that I've now turned it into. And late in his life, he and I discussed making that transition. He just had what looked like was going to be a fairly big success with Last of the Breed, Cold War thriller, and he was wondering what to do with Skyring Water. And I said, how about another Cold War thriller? And threw some ideas at him, and he liked that. And we made some plans, but were never able to go through with them until now.
I love what you've done with this. It's absolutely.
Thank you.
It's there's twists and turns everywhere. There's action everywhere. There's you never know what's coming, and at the same time, I think if you tried to make this into a movie, it would have to cost $250-300 million. I mean, there's scenes all over the world, everywhere. Your mind is constantly moving, Beau, because you see everything that you put on the page. You never leave anything. What's a good way of putting this? You never leave anything off the page. You know what I mean? It's all right there. So I'm following everything you're doing. I know what this guy is doing. I know what the motives are. I see the other ancillary characters coming in, going out. I'm never lost, not for a moment. I know what's going on. And because there's a lot of action and a lot of moving parts. That's the one thing about this book. There are a ton of moving parts. And there are a ton of plot threads, but you manage to take these plot threads, and there are many. This is a tapestry, folks, that Beau has managed to put together, and you've woven it together masterfully throughout. And this is a 530-page book, folks.
It's a big book.
This is not a small book, but it does not feel like one. In fact, it moves. I read this over a weekend, Beau.
Wonderful.
Over a weekend.
Listen, that's so good to hear, because, of course, it is long, and that's what it took to develop everything. But that doesn't mean I haven't been concerned about that.
Yeah. And so people shouldn't be concerned that you might get intimidated and go, whoa, that's a long book. It moves. This thing moves so fluidly.
Wow, thank you.
So it's and especially if you love action, if you love adventure, if you love the spy genre, you're going to love this book. Because it's just, the characters are easy to get into, and there's action, and you keep wondering what the motive is behind all these characters and where they're going, what they're thinking, and it's so easy to get into. It's such a good book. I tell you what, I want to take the break early because I want to start to get into a few of these characters in this book and talk a little bit about some of the motivations for what's going on in this book, because it is such a good book. Skyring Water is the name of this book. And of course, it's Louis L'Amour, Beau L'Amour, father and son effort here. And if you're watching the video, Beau has it and he's holding it up right there. Again, gorgeous book, wonderful book. And we'll talk a little bit more about the machinations of this book, the characters of this book, and what's going on in this Cold War thriller. And I tell you, folks, there's a main plot, there's a secondary plot, and there's the plot within the plot. Again, lots of threads here, and we'll talk about them with Beau L'Amour here next. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about our sponsor today, Jelly Bean and Julia's. If you need a place to relax, you need a place to get a good meal, you need a place for a little bit of entertainment, Jelly Bean and Julia's is the place to go. Let me tell you a little bit about their specials this week. Over at Jelly Bean and Julia's today and tomorrow and Thursday, happy hour, 25% off all appetizers. It excludes their appetizer sampler, however. Half price single pour well drinks, half price Mick Golden Light and Coors Light taps, half price domestic cans and bottles. And then, of course, on Friday, it's that smoked prime rib dinner I've been telling you guys about. It sits in the smoker for 12 to 14 hours. It comes out. It's absolutely perfect, folks. Absolutely perfect. You've got the Boston baked potato with it, the Texas toast, and, of course, that tequila berry salad with the sweet and tangy dressing, the croutons, the bacon bits, and much, much more. You get all that, and it gets served at 4:30, and it's there until it is gone. I guarantee you're going to want to get there early because you may not get it if you wait too long. That smoked prime rib dinner is there every Friday night. And it is wonderful. 14 and 16 ounce prime rib, smoked prime rib is there every Friday night. On Sundays, breakfast only. On Sundays, you've got chicken and waffles. You've got the hash with the brisket and much, much more. On Sundays, it's absolutely wonderful. Again, Saturday nights, you've got live entertainment at Jelly Bean and Julia's. JellyBeanandJulia's.com is the web address. Go check them out. Jelly Bean and Julia's. Again, when you're there, that's your spot. They'll treat you like family. Jelly Bean and Julia's, JellyBeanandJulia's.com. Link in the description of this program. When we come back, more with Beau L'Amour, Skyring Water, next here on True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. My guest is Beau L'Amour. The name of the book is Skyring Water, a novel. It's written by both Louis L'Amour and Beau L'Amour. It's a father-son collaboration, and it's a good one, folks. A very good book. Excellent book. It's a Cold War suspense novel, and we're going to jump into it here with Beau and get the idea of what's going on here. Like I said before the break, I was kind of teasing there's some multiple threads here, but it starts out, Beau, how? We've got, obviously, we've teased it by saying there's spies involved here, but there's a little bit more than that. We're dealing with, of course, there's Nazis involved here. We're dealing with salvaging of all things, and we're dealing with a bit of an underwater and seafaring type of theme here in this book, aren't we?
We are. It starts out in Barcelona when a pair of struggling arms dealers get in kind of over their head, and they have to figure out a way to fix the trouble that they have gotten into. And that leads them to this adventure that takes them many places around the world and then down the Chilean coast, where they have to, it's kind of like the ultimate locked room caper. They have to break in to a submarine that is sitting on the bottom of a Chilean fjord, and it's pressurized. So it's sort of like you can't open it up and swim into it. They have to get into it in some particularly technical way and salvage the sub and raise it in order to retrieve the treasure and save their own lives and maybe save or change the world. There's a lot going on. I'll let you ask me questions, but basically it's a sort of a treasure hunt adventure with these kind of anti-hero characters, and everybody's chasing them. The CIA is chasing them, and Mossad is chasing them, and this group of businessmen who are Nazis who survived the war are chasing them, and everybody wants what they are trying to find.
I tell you, it gets complex. Mike Fowler is a former Navy salvage diver, right? Who's one of our guys who's ends up being one of the arms dealers who's in this company. Yeah. He's formed a company with Anton Voss, who's an expatriate German scientist. Tell me a little bit about their relationship and how they came together as a group that tries to form this company to deal arms.
Anton Voss is in New Britain, New Guinea, and he's buying up, this is maybe 1948 or so, and he's buying up surplus Japanese weapons to sell to the South Korean military, which at the time used Japanese weapons. And he goes to a local salvage diver looking for someone to help him out, looking for a guy to basically be a bodyguard. And that salvage operation has this guy working for them, who's Mike Fowler, who is definitely adequate in the bodyguard role. He was a UDT operator during World War II. These are the underwater demolition team guys. That unit eventually became the SEALs, and Mike Fowler goes off to help Anton Voss make his deal, and the two of them eventually, their relationship strengthens and deepens, and Fowler eventually becomes the junior partner in Voss's arms company, which is based in Barcelona. And the two of them have a very close, maybe almost kind of father and son relationship. It definitely has some stresses involved, and Fowler definitely knows his place as the junior partner. But the story really kicks off when Voss's Nazi past comes calling, and he has to kind of deal with who he has been over the years.
What's interesting is as they get into it and they start dealing arms around the world, Anton Voss gets confused with another Voss, right? Who's a different type of Nazi officer. And it gets not only confusing for Mike Fowler, but it gets a little irritating for Voss, doesn't it?
Yeah, there was a Wilhelm Voss who was head of a major manufacturing group in Czechoslovakia during World War II, also kind of known as an arms dealer, although he was much more of an industrialist, the kind of person who builds weaponry and builds factories and things like that. And he went and worked briefly in Egypt and with a bunch of expatriate Germans who were helping out the Egyptian government after the war. And when Mike and Anton show up, the Mossad thinks they get confused, and they think that Anton Voss is Wilhelm Voss because they're both Dr. Voss, and they attempt to kill him. And this is how they end up getting to know all these people in Mossad. And when they attempt to and fail to kill him in the aftermath of that, in the aftermath of this kind of epically confusing fight in a hotel room before the Israeli agents are let go, Mike Fowler takes some of their business cards and he stuffs them in the guy's pocket, and he says, we're letting you go, but just remember we're open for business. And they end up getting a contract to supply tank treads and ambulances and ammunition and stuff like this to in the early days of Israel, and that brings them into a whole other group of people who end up pursuing the thing that they finally discover that Anton Voss knows about.
Which is interesting because you're giving us a snapshot, too, of, we think of the Mossad these days. The Mossad is kind of a well-oiled machine, and they have quite a industrial power behind them. This is the early days of the Mossad where really they don't have a lot, but they want to be involved in whatever it is that's going on here, right? And these are some major powers that are going at it to go get whatever it is that Voss is after, right?
Yeah. Mossad was, they were obviously incredibly competent in like pulling off the Eichmann kidnapping in Argentina, which occurs immediately prior to some of the pieces of this story. And but at the same time, they sent other operatives, in particular, a couple of female operatives, into some places that were very tough. And those at least one of those ladies was never heard from again. And so they experimented with doing a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. And, they were a small, poor country, particularly at the time.
Right.
And they did not necessarily have all of the resources that they would like to have had. So not everything was incredibly successful as some of their recent operations have been fairly impressive, but at this time it was a little more hit or miss.
Well, what's interesting about Skyring Water is the operative that comes from the Mossad that ends up joining this band of thieves, so to speak, that's headed in this mission that Anton Voss eventually wants to go on. This Mossad operative is a female, right?
Yes. The woman with no name.
Yes.
We never she's like the woman in the Maltese Falcon. We never actually know what her name is. She has all these pseudonyms. But yeah, and she's a very competent operative. She was an anti-Nazi guerrilla in Poland during World War II and escaped to Israel. And now she's when this story comes along, she's almost at the point of retirement. She's in her probably mid to late 30s, and but they kind of send her in because she knows Mike and Anton. She knows Mike very well, but she knows Mike and Anton, and so she's kind of given the job of finding out what the heck it is they're doing.
Isn't it mentioned in the book as well? She was known among the Nazis as the Angel of Death or something to that effect.
Yes, and this was drawn actually from a historical account. She and her sister, when they were, like I said, kind of anti-Nazi guerrillas and also kind of professional thieves in Poland and Silesia, Czechoslovakia area during World War II. They would lure soldiers, away from other soldiers and kill them and rob them. And they ended up, she ended up being a well-known, like a young lady who would have had a number of wanted posters in German with her face on them.
There's another part of Anton Voss's history I think we kind of touch on without being spoilerish here, Beau. He at one time had a fellow scientist, potentially his wife, that gave him not only a romantic tie, but potentially a tie to his mission. That's all I can say, really. But can you tell us a little bit about this romantic interest of his that seems to tug at his heartstrings, yet have more to do with him than that?
Yeah, the other very powerful kind of romantic interest in the book is this, kind of lost love of Anton Voss, who's been dead since World War II, but she shows up as a character in flashbacks and things of that sort. And he was in the First World War. He was a submarine commander. And after the war, he went back to university and got an advanced degree. He's a physicist, and he worked on all kinds of interesting projects related to the Navy. He ended up being like the liaison between the German Navy of various, there was the Navy of World War I, there was the Navy of the Weimar Republic, there was the Navy of the Third Reich. There was a continuity there, but it was three very different governments, almost three completely different countries. Mm-hmm. And he's the liaison between the Navy and the scientific community. And in that particular role, he meets this young lady mathematician who has worked out something very special. And the two of them go, and this is a really cool piece of history. The two of them go to work with Konrad Zuse, and Konrad Zuse developed what I think we could say today is probably the first modern computer. There was obviously Alan Turing, who was working on computers in a few years later.
Yep.
There was IBM, which had been working on computers even earlier than that. But given what we know about Zuse now, and we know about his computer language developments, it seems like he was probably onto some of these things earlier, but every time he ended up building a fairly functional computer, not intentionally, but it got bombed by the Allies. And so he never really made big adjustments. But she has something that she needs to work on with Zuse, and Anton Voss is brought in to take what she's working on and break it into pieces so that Zuse won't be able to understand what it is that she's working on. He's there to keep it secret. Really? And he's the guy that has enough knowledge of both worlds to break it into pieces, to get some result, and then reassemble the pieces so that they can move on with the scientific developments. So there's she's also a very dynamic character. She's just dead through most of the story. She's there in flashback, and she's there in Anton's memory.
But what's interesting is she comes back and she adds some such vital information throughout the book.
Yes.
That it ties everything together so brilliantly. One of the things I wanted to bring up with you as far as this book goes, and again, I mentioned to you off air about it, is you've again, with the detail of this book, there's some things in this book, and you mention at the end of this book, folks, this is a fictional book. There's not a lot in here that's true to life. You shouldn't take a lot of this as actual real events that happened. Okay. But when I read this book, I said to you as we began talking, are you sure this stuff didn't happen in real life? because there's things that feel very real, like real historical events that happened and real people that actually went through these things in real life. And I only say that because it has a very authentic feel to it. It feels like these events happened because you are so detailed with it, down to how the dives are done. And you had some very good consultants on this book.
Absolutely.
You had very good consultants as far as how governments work, how arms deals work, how everything works, how everything goes down, even down to historical facts. My mind is blown, Beau, as far as
that's the job. I mean, you have to make it, the idea is to make it believable and then tell an exciting story, which means a lot of times you have to wind some fiction through it. And so there are historical events. There are kind of pseudo historical events. I mean, events that are, let's say, projected in certain conspiracy theories that many people have heard of, and those conspiracy theories are somewhat convincing. I have to say, after writing this book, I'm less convinced, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hold back using that potential history, that alternate history. There's a lot of legitimately historical people like Konrad Zuse that are mentioned in the story. There's one legitimately historical, incredibly infamous character, Otto Skorzeny, who's a big character in the story.
Yeah.
And one of the kind of amusing things that I got to at the end, one of the kind of frustrating things was I got almost done with the story, and then I realized I have to bring Otto Skorzeny back into the flow of legitimate history at the end of the story. I have to he ends up making a deal with the CIA, and which is probably true. Okay.
Yeah.
Which might have been true. And, once I got done with using him in the story, I had to reinsert him into the flow of history so that he could go on and do the other things that he did up until when he died in the 1970s. And there were a few other challenges along those lines. And then in the salvaging the submarine part, I had a wonderful consultant who had been a SEAL who had been connected with the submarine crew, and all the sub guys cross-trained. So he was very, very, very knowledgeable about the submarine situation. He was also a diver who'd done some salvage work and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I started working out how we would salvage the submarine. And actually, when you read the book, the mistakes the guys make along the way in salvaging the subs were things that Bob and I, they were mistakes that we made. Okay. And then we were sort of like, oh no, that's not the way to do it. And we kind of backed up and came up with other ways to do it. So some of what you're experiencing was the flow of me figuring out how to do these things.
That's amazing. Like I said, as we're going along and making mistakes with them in the book, it's like, oh no, you really, you're aggravated along with them. You're disappointed along with them, and you're jubilant along with them as they get some, successes and as they get failures, you're feeling it along with them. It's, again, if you were to take and strip the cover off this book and put a different cover on it and say the real life adventures of, and put it in a classroom somewhere and tell kids this is what happened, a Cold War adventure, you could convince a bunch of high school kids that this actually happened.
That's very good. I mean, I have to say that what I was shooting was a little bit less ambitious than that, and it was to obviously do my father justice, especially the kind of work that he wanted to do at the end of his career. But also, if he had been able to write this in the late 1980s, which is when he was thinking about going back to work on it, he would have been competing with Robert Ludlum and Len Dighton and John le Carré and people like that, and Clive Cussler and Tom Clancy. And my feeling is that I wanted to have a book that would feel natural in a rack next to those people. And that's one of the reasons for its length. I know a lot of writing has become somewhat shorter these days.
Yeah.
But at the time, those books were pretty large. Yeah. And so really what I was shooting for, if nothing else, would be you could get confused as to what era this book had come out in and who its competition was. I mean, this is not a book that like competes directly against like Jack Carr.
Yeah.
Great guy. I want to, plug his new book. It's like, buy the new Jack Carr book. He's terrific. But its goal is to hopefully fit in today, but also feel like something that could have existed in the heyday of that earlier time of Cold War thrillers.
It definitely feels timeless. I'll give you that. It feels timeless, and it feels like. And I'll give you this compliment as well. I can't tell where your father's writing starts and yours ends.
That is not surprising. Okay, so my dad and I wrote. I've worked on a number of things at my dad's, but when I do a lot of work on something, I'm putting my name on it. And so the last book that my dad and I worked on together was No Traveler Returns, which was my dad's first novel. And weirdly, and we can come back to this if you want.
Sure.
There are touches of this plot in that novel.
Oh.
Okay, which is really bizarre. But anyway, No Traveler Returns was my dad's first novel. It was kind of a pile of chapters. It was very much like his Yondering stories, kind of his Yondering universe of stories. But they were kind of these vignettes rather than finished stories. And he had created a structure to pull them together, but it had never really been finalized, and it didn't work in certain cases. And so my job was to go in there and cut and move things around and create a new beginning and create a new end and a solid through line that led you through all these different pieces. So that was very easy. And that was like an archaeological reconstruction of his style in the late 1930s.
Okay.
And it was relatively easy to do because when I would jump from one piece to another, I had Louis on this end and I had Louis on this end, and I could make the connection, and you get like this feedback about whether the style is right because of the way it leaves the style and it joins the style.
Yeah.
Very easy to do. At least for me, because I've been practicing for 40 years. But anyway, I've been working on all kinds of stuff of his for 40 years. I kind of know how to do it. The reason you are not, so hopefully you wouldn't see those transitions in that, because hopefully I've gotten really good at it. In this book, this was a page one rewrite. This was basically, I did not try to go, 3/5 of the way through the story and then hit Louis' novel and just let Louis' novel exist as it was and then do the final fifth. This was my writing all the way through.
Right.
It's more my dad and me planning it and him creating the inspiration for it and things of that sort. It's, I'm sure that you see a lot of these co-writing teams where you have a big name writer and then you have kind of a junior writer. I'm sure the big name writer is acting more like an executive producer in television or something like that, who's handing down the general concept to the people in the writer's room who then execute that episode or execute that concept. And so in this case, it's more of Louis L'Amour as executive producer rather than the man who typed every word.
Right. I was going to say it feels more inspired by Louis, and then you do the hard work. Really, I mean, it's a Beau L'Amour novel for lack of a better term.
It's both of us. You
Sure.
never you can't just, if you type every word, that's great and it's a lot of work, but that doesn't mean that's where the idea came from.
Right. Right.
And
No, I understand.
The idea is the king.
Right. Right. I understand that it's co-cooked for lack of a better term.
Absolutely.
But I mean the yeoman's work is done by you.
In this case, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's the voice is both voices. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You can hear both voices when you read this book. I can hear.
Well, I definitely try to come from where I'm also his son.
Right. Yeah. The DNA is the same. You can definitely.
Well, and I just have practice dealing with him. I have practice working with his material. And so it's, that part is not too much of a stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just paying the compliment of the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So yeah,
Thank you. Seriously.
Yeah, so it's that's I think what makes it all the more exciting. I'm trying to figure out how far we want to go with this, Beau, because there are some other characters here in this book that make it all that more interesting. There's a boat they eventually have to, or a ship they eventually have to take out to the sub. And it's run by a man by the name of Jack Johnson, who's a particularly colorful character who's connected to Mike from childhood. I'm curious where you get this character from and how he connects.
Well, Jack Johnson, Mike Fowler and Jack Johnson as young petty officers during World War II are sent on a clandestine mission at the end of the war that maybe doesn't have too much to do with the end of the war. It may be kind of a corrupt mission, and they both kind of recognize that they have to live it down. And at the end of the mission, the people who sent them on it do something to, maybe, no one's sure, make sure they don't come back, and because there was some corrupt motives involved. And so Mike and Jack, as the only survivors of that, have this very close bond. Jack is the salvage diver that Mike is working for when he ends up transitioning to work for Anton Voss. And so Jack has a medium-sized salvage operation that operates in the South Pacific, and is a character who's based on a number of Australians that I have known over the years. I lived in Australia for a while and grew to really love the place and love the people. And so Jack is large, loud, kind of crudely charming guy who is a very, very powerful character in his own right. I mean, Mike was the guy that taught. Mike worked the salvage at Pearl Harbor right in the early days of World War II. So he was kind of the salvage expert who taught Jack's crew a lot of what they ended up learning. And he's definitely the guy who's more in charge of this expedition. But Jack is a very powerful character on his own. And he has a crew of Australians and New Zealanders and Maoris who, work with him and do most of the technical aspects, the hard labor of diving, salvage diving, professional kind of construction diving is really a business that's probably best done by younger people.
Yeah.
It's incredibly hard work. And, I mean, it's like, it's very hard to turn a wrench or swing a hammer or, use a power tool, underwater. You have to brace yourself. It's like every muscle gets strained in every different direction. And so, as these guys are now in their 40s, there's a crew of younger guys who are also helping out. So he was a really fun character. I mean, you love all the characters, even the the evil characters, they're always a lot of fun.
There are a pair of evil characters. We can mention them real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Because it comes time to where they're running out of money. Mike and Anton are, and they need to fall back on a source, and it's a source that they've used previously. Although it's not one that they prefer to use. Can you tell us about these two men and who they are?
In the early days of their arms dealership, they got in they needed some money very badly, and Anton Voss found a couple of American gangsters based in Cuba. And they used their money, and then it was very difficult to get them paid off. The interest was so high, they're loan sharks basically. Mm-hmm. And the interest was so high, and the gangsters don't really want to be paid off. What they want to do is they want to leverage the arms company into providing them with weapons and things like this to use for illicit purposes. And Mike and Anton try to resist that. And ultimately, they end up gathering just enough money to pay them off. And when they go to pay them off, they also say, oh, and by the way, accept this, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble because we just shipped a whole bunch of arms to a guy who's going to try and overthrow the dictator of Cuba. This isn't Castro. This was a previous attempt. And if you're associated with our company, everyone that you know in the mob is going to hate you. In fact, they may do something horrible to you if they found you were the guys who were responsible. So Anton Voss is this very, very smart character. I mean, I chose the name because it means fox in Low German.
Right.
And so he's definitely this guy who's always playing 3D chess. He's like one step ahead of everybody. So he's manipulated this historical revolutionary attempt against Batista into a shot at getting rid of these gangsters. But then later on in the story, he has to go to somebody, and he goes back to them, and they come into the story, and they're relatively large characters in the latter half of the story. They're allies, but they're untrustworthy to a differing extent. There is a difference between the two partners, and they're definitely not the most trustworthy of allies as the adventure goes on.
And then there's a piece of dialogue that I found particularly interesting, and I wanted to commend you on it because it's a tough piece of dialogue. It's one that I don't think a lot of authors would tackle, and you have to keep in mind that you have a man who worked for the Third Reich in Anton Voss. You have a member of the Mossad, a Jew, and they're in tight quarters. And you manage to get the two of them together to talk philosophy.
Yeah.
And Anton Voss gets, and mind you, they're in close quarters in a ship. And they start to talk about philosophy of country and philosophy of race and philosophy of theology and World War II. And I thought, oh my God, is that uncomfortable? And it's worth the price of the book just to read that dialogue of how a Nazi tries to vindicate himself on why he followed orders.
Yeah.
And why he had to, why Germany had to follow Hitler. I mean, that entire dialogue, Beau, is worth the price of the book.
I'm so glad you liked it, because it was this. When I do a new, I will rewrite a chapter and make changes in it. But if I make a major change, I give it a new number. So there may be several rewrites in a chapter that don't get a new number. Okay, there's over 20 numbered rewrites of that chapter. And it was extremely, extremely hard to do, because I wanted Voss to logically excuse himself from some things while still admitting while still being completely honest.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted it to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's sort of like this man, and this is, Voss has this transition from kind of an avuncular character to a character you realize is incredibly smart and kind of one up on everybody to, gosh, maybe he's really one up on everybody and who knows what his motives are. And so I wanted it to make you uncomfortable, but it also needed to be historically correct. It also needed to have a character who is, not only Jewish, but the kind of person who could probably lunge across the table and kill him before anybody could stop her.
Yeah.
And
not only that, but probably wanted to.
Yeah, well, and she, she gets a point. There's a spot in there where she cuts loose on him, and everybody's just like, whoa,
yeah,
and it's not necessarily what you would expect,
right?
Okay, the way she responds,
yeah,
and yet also I felt it was very, when I was reading a lot of German history in preparation for writing this, one of the things that really impressed me was some particularly Jewish historians that said the Third Reich, the fundamental mentality behind the Third Reich was insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, was just Germany was not a respected place. The Germans were respected intellectually. There were individuals who had done very well. There were cities that had demonstrated their capability. There were universities that were very good, but Germany for 1,000 years had been this place where Europe fought its wars. And it was just this kind of war-torn political mess. And Germans had a unfortunate vision of themselves as being kind of the low man on the totem pole of Europe, and wanting to really prove themselves, and at the same time knowing that they were extraordinarily capable. So there was this, there's this incredible tension in the German psyche of feeling oppressed, but at the same time knowing that in so many ways they were legitimately dominated, as great composers, great philosophers, all these kinds of things. And those tensions going off. And there was also this huge tension between the very logical, structured kind of military mentality that came out of northern Germany, the Prussian area, mm-hmm. and the very kind of romantic, mythical craziness that you see born in Bavaria and Austria, which would be like more the Hitler, where all of Hitler's wacky ideas came from.
Right.
It's like you take these wacky ideas of like, we are the supermen and we are like the chivalry of old, we're the knights who are going to take over Europe again and everything else. And you hand that to the people who can get it done, who are the much less imaginative, maybe because they're great scientists and everything up there. But let's just, for the sake of argument, let's say we're going to hand that to the very structured, less imaginative Prussians and let them do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that mixture, so Germany had been divided in many, many ways. It was only once these areas started getting together that, at least in 20th century terms, the danger arrived.
Yep.
And Voss is explaining this. He's saying, and he's also saying to the character of Nicole, that's not really her name,
yep.
but we think we call her Nicole.
Right.
The character of Nicole, what the difference between his experience of the Third Reich and hers. So his experience of the Third Reich, he was a sailor in World War I. He came out of the Kaiser's era. And so what happened in Germany under Hitler was this development over maybe even more than 2 decades. So he calls it a slowly rising tide. And when he's talking to her, he's saying, you who are a Pole, okay, basically dealt with this marching across the border. It was a tsunami in your case. and so it also happened to me. He's old enough to be her father, so it happened to him from young manhood through middle age, whereas it happened to her all of a sudden in her young teens.
Yep.
And or her mid-teens. And so it was a very dynamic chapter. But as I started writing this, I started saying, it would just be boring and almost like an artistic misfire to write a story that deals with World War II and not try to say something that few people have heard before.
Yeah.
It's sort of like everybody's heard, kind of Nazis bad and they were terrible, and everybody's heard this thing and that thing, and all these kind of things. And I just said, you have to find a place in this where you can find something that's legitimate history, that's documentable, so people have heard it before, but you don't hear it very often in fiction, and present kind of a point of view that on the subject matter that is somewhat unique.
Yeah. Not only is it unique, but it's to hear the back and forth. It's just interesting to be the fly on the wall and go, wow, because it takes your breath away. Because you're right. It's incredibly uncomfortable, but at the same time, it's interesting to see that, again, this is why it's so authentic that you swear it happened. The two actually got together and argued, and that you were that fly on the wall that got to see that argument.
Well, the other characters kind of pull further and further back, and It starts out being a discussion of everybody, and then they're all kind of like almost watching this fight between the two of them, or match between the two of them, going back and forth. Not that she's constantly repositing to him; he has a lot to say in that scene. And then also there is the point that that scene lifts the lid on Voss. It shows you the workings of his brain.
Yep.
Okay. And it was there to say, and I'm not saying, at no point in it do I say, this is what Anton Voss is doing and this is what he's thinking. I'm just letting you see it.
Yep.
And he has an agenda for the whole scene that he's working out. Again, 3D chess. The guy's, he isn't sitting there willing to admit all of this stuff for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a purpose that he's pursuing, or he'll drop in a little push in one direction or another, see where the conversation goes, drop in another little push, and he's trying to get everybody around to the point where he can say something to certain people tacitly and to other people rather obviously. It's a very complicated scene. Like I said, it took me forever. It was like pulling teeth, and then it was pulling teeth to get it down to a point where it was short enough to actually stick in the book. I mean, I got done with it. It was like 25 pages.
Oh,
I was sort of like, oh no, that's way too long.
But it's exquisite. It's an amazing scene. It's just one that I think not only does it make your toes curl, but at the same time, you may feel uncomfortable reading it, but at the same time you go, you know what, that makes an impact. It sticks with you. And you start to wonder how, not only how people relate to one another, how they can work together in close quarters and get along towards a common goal after something like that, but how we continue to do that generation after generation, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of back and forth. It's like my father was engaged during World War II,
mm-hmm.
and we're still fairly close with her family,
mm-hmm.
and she was their French aristocracy, so she was a countess,
mm-hmm.
and when her properties, the chateau that her family lived in, the town that was basically like the company town that the chateau lands owned, was taken over by the Germans. She was lucky enough so that the one of the officers that was there was somebody who was also like German aristocracy. And he kind of came in and basically told her what to do. And this is how your things are going to be taken care of. And, was just an absolute gentleman about it. I mean, her property had been basically taken over by the Third Reich, but it was taken over in a manner that was incredibly, incredibly civilized. And obviously, that's not the experience that a lot of people had.
Right.
There was a lot of horrific brutality and violence and death and destruction that went on. But that doesn't mean those people weren't there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Skyring Water is the name of the book, folks. Unfortunately, we're running short on time, but Beau, I think I could talk to you about this book for hours. I'm serious. That would
be fun.
It's an amazing book. I encourage you guys to go get it. We have a link in the description of this program. I think this is going to be the read you're going to want. Beau's got it right there. He's holding it up. I think this is the book that you guys are gonna want to read throughout the summer. I mean, this is one of those ones that is full of action. It's full of intrigue. It's full of incredibly intricate plot twists. It's going to hold your attention. I mean, unless you're like me and you blow through it in a weekend, because you're that interested and you're that you just can't put it down. Which I don't think you can put it down once you start reading it, honestly. Beau, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Folks, it's time for us to switch things up a little bit. Let's bring in Jessica Freeberg, and it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again. Time you all been looking forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. And with that, you need a co-hostess. I say that every week, don't I? But I do, unless it's a co-host. But it's a co-hostess this week, and I'm glad it is, by gosh, because this lady's a mover, a shaker, and by God, not a bread baker. She has no time for that, folks. In fact, Bender himself said this. He said, by gosh, if she starts baking bread, we're all in trouble, because that means he doesn't have a job either. And he's invested in all that ink and all that paper. He's ready for all these charts to be blown up, blown to smithereens, and I have only one name at the top of them. And he says he's ready to engrave it at the top of the charts. He knows it's that important. Ladies and gentlemen, she's got not one, not two, not three, but 57 tomes ready for this year because her publisher knows not how to release them or stagger them throughout the year. They're all coming out at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is. She's smart. She's funny. She's incredibly easy on the eyes. Jessica Freeberg. Jess, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm always doing good after your introductions. I just feel like a queen.
Well, you are, by gosh. Not only that, but now you're telling people, by gosh, how to stay in there, stick up for themselves, and I don't know, put a fist in their head or something like that. Bow. No, that's not what the program's about. Tell us what this new program is, by the way, that you have out there, my friend.
Well, I mean, that would work too, Tim, but mine's a little more subtle.
Okay. Yours is more subtle. It's nonviolent, by the way, folks.
Nonviolent. I'm always a nonviolent person.
Right,
yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I created a course. I've been wanting to do this for like 3 years. I got certified in mindfulness and meditation like probably 6 or 7 years ago when I was doing private coaching. I've done a lot of workshops over the years. And I just always wanted to put something out there that people that don't live near me could actually do if they want to. So
nice.
I created this course, and it was inspired by a text message from my friend who said, I appreciate your calm and peaceful way of not taking bullshit.
You have an amazing way of doing that. I've seen it myself in situations where I myself would probably put my fist through someone's face. You have a way of maintaining absolute calm and negotiating through shark-infested waters. That's the best way of putting it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So when I was sitting there thinking about like what course should I put together, because I have so many things in my head. Well, should it be writing? What should it be about? And I was like, I think it's that. I think that's the course right there. I just want to do that. So
yeah,
that's what I did.
And folks, I'm telling you, this woman is an absolute like Jedi master at this particular subject. So you're learning from the best of the best.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I've heard it's my superpower, and I'm happy to share it. It's not a personality trait; it's a skill, and everyone can do it.
Well, I don't know if I could. I'm Roy Dennis's grandson. I'll tell you that much. I may seem like I'm a cuddly teddy bear on here, but I tell you, I've only got so far you can push me.
I feel that too. I mean, it's all in there. But that's what we say. My husband kind of jokes about my daughter and I, my older daughter, because we'll kind of go head to head.
Mm-hmm.
She's really sweet. I'm pretty sweet, but like neither one of us has time for BS. So if either one of us gives a little BS, we're like,
I suppose we all have our breaking points, right? I mean, everybody does. Everybody does. But there's such a thing as tactful negotiation and a tactful way to get out of things and into things.
And a lot of times it is just like giving yourself a pause and not reacting right away. That's a big thing, because we're all like equipped with this piece of ourselves that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle called intuition.
Yep.
And when you pause for a second, you give that the opportunity to speak up. So that's a lot of what the course is about. So
excellent. All right. So tell people, where do we go sign up for this course?
Well, it's on my website. So you can go to jessicafreeberg.com and sign up. I just shared the link on social media. Last night. I said, I'm going to do this in May, Tim. And it was like 9:00, May 31st. And I'm like, okay, better share this now.
All right. Well, you got it in on time. And I tell you what, we'll link it up here in the description of Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals and True Crime Tuesday. We'll link it up from now until the end of time. So people have the,
well, thank you.
Have the access to it so they can access this helpful tool and
then they also get like free access to a community that's within that platform. So if you buy the course, you're in that for as long as you want to hang out with me. So
nice.
We have a little community where we can chat and keep up and encourage each other and that sort of thing. So
wonderful.
Yeah, should be good.
All right. Well, then that's what we'll do. So
you're the best. Thank you.
Get to it, people. Get to it. All right. And just real quick before we get into it today. And by the way, Jess is going to have to exercise and practice what she preaches today, because these stories, folks, for some reason, y'all get into spring, it gets warm out, and y'all get lewd, nude, and crude. Almost every story today is not safe for work. There's only a few that aren't. So we're going to test your patience today, Jess. Before we jump into it, though, I got to tell you, over the weekend, not only did I get the pleasure of reading Louis L'Amour and Beau L'Amour's great book, Skyring Water, which was amazing. But I also got the privilege. I don't know if a lot of you watch Euphoria on HBO. I got to watch the season finale on HBO and the series finale. Boy, what an ending. You know, and again, spoiler alert, folks, if you haven't watched it, fast forward through this file real quick, because I'm only going to give you one or two little spoilers. I won't be like everybody else who's blowing it online. And you can't go anywhere online without seeing what happened on this show. But I'll just give Sam Levingston, the creator and writer of this show, his props. And this is what it has to do with crime and true crime and addiction. He had a way in this last season of showing, and this is the one thing he wanted to do, and he said this post-show. He wanted to show that not everybody makes it through addiction.
Oh, yeah.
That there is a negativity to addiction, that not everybody's a success story. In fact, most people aren't.
Right.
And he did it successfully. And he showed that there's a lot of evil in this world. He showed, by the way, this third season was amazing in that he showed good and evil, mainly a lot of evil in the dirt of humanity and how terrible we are to each other. But he did show those flecks of good. You know, he showed the bit of light that manages to shine on evil. But at the very end of the show, it does end with that ray of light, which I'm glad it did. But boy, man, did it get dark at the end of that season. I mean, it's one of the darkest series I think I've ever watched, but it was enjoyable as it was happening.
Yeah.
You know, but it really had a huge, and he's such a masterful artist. He really is. And in that, when you're watching it, you almost have to go back and watch it 2 or 3 times because there's these subtle messages that he drops in that episode that you're just like, wow, what a masterstroke that you managed to convey 1 or 2 messages just in this, 30 seconds of film. And I did a little bit of film student stuff when I was in college. And so I can appreciate, the little bit of messaging he put in there. And I was just dumbfounded by how much he told in an hour and a half last night. So, and this is Monday when we're recording, so this aired Sunday night. So if you have a chance to go back and watch it, or if you did already, or if you haven't watched it at all, it's on HBO Max. Go take a look at it. It's really intriguing. If you haven't watched season 3, watch season 3. It's really an intriguing piece of work. So I, as one who has addiction issues in my family, I found it really, really touching to the heart. That's the only way I could put it. So it was really, really, really interesting storytelling. So there you go. All right. With that, let's jump into it, Jess.
Let's go.
I got a lot of stories from our audience this week. So thank you guys. I think I know what you guys want to hear.
Were they sending all the lewd, nude, crude ones?
Maybe. I mean, we got some good stuff that wasn't. Tony.
They're the funniest.
They are. Tony sent in a lot of stuff this week. He sent this one in that we're starting off with today. I'll let you know when we get to not safe for work. It won't take very long. But Tony sent this one in. Charges, and this is what we're starting with. Charges were dismissed for a woman without a right hand who was cited for holding a phone while driving.
Oh, what was she driving with?
Her left, Jess, her left hand. Which is why charges were dismissed. I'm going to show you a picture of this poor lady. Right there. There she is.
Oh.
Yeah. Holding up the non-fingered hand.
The non-hand, yes.
Yeah, the non-hand. She doesn't have a prosthetic on it, obviously, or maybe that's what she was driving with. Let's find out. A traffic citation was issued to a woman who said she was accused of holding a phone in a hand she does not have. Well, those charges have been dismissed. Court records, of course this happened in Florida. Of course it happened in Florida. Court records show the citation was dismissed at the request of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and the deputy who issued it. A court hearing had been scheduled for Tuesday, but was canceled after the case was dropped. The citation was issued last February 11th along North Dixie Highway in Lake Worth Beach and accused the driver of violating Florida's Wireless Communications Act while driving. The case drew widespread attention after the woman posted video of the traffic stop on TikTok, where she questioned the deputy's claim that he saw a device in her right hand, the one that does not have a hand.
Okay. I think she has a good case there.
Oh, right there and then. And especially if she's got the old, if she's in her left hand, if she's got the phone and she holds up.
This hand?
This one where there's not a hand and I'm holding up the left, phone in the left hand recording you right now in case you really want this to go any further. She said she does not have a right hand. You know what? There's video of this. I'm actually I'm going to put this in the description of this program so you guys can watch this idiot write the ticket out.
Well, he wrote the ticket anyway, even though he got up there and he's like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah. A Lake Worth Beach traffic stop has gained attention online after a woman was cited for using a wireless communications device while driving, but video of the encounter is now sparking debate. Of course, like we said, it was dismissed. A citation issued by the deputy of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office on February 11th around 8:04 a.m. along North Dixie Highway, which, by the way, is a terrible highway to drive because they pull every and anybody over unless you've got into a huge crash on North Dixie. In that case, they'll never come by. I don't know why that is. Lists a charge as wireless comm device handheld while driving, first offense under Florida statute 316.3053A with a civil penalty of $116. They were trying to nail this poor woman for $116. And she never had anything in her right hand. There's no right hand.
Crazy.
She posted the video to TikTok. It went viral. The driver records the stop and questions the deputy's observation. The citation indicates the deputy observed a handheld device while she was traveling northbound on North Dixie Highway. During the stop, the deputy is heard stating he saw the device in her right hand. The woman says she does not have a right hand and plans to challenge the citation in court. She also requested body camera footage from the sheriff's office. CBS 12 submitted public records request for that footage as well. Do you think?
Curious what he saw that he thought was a phone. Was it just the stump? Like, because it didn't look
probably
fingery?
Right. Probably because he saw the flash of her, as you put it, her stump. He thought he saw a device. So that's what he probably stopped around. They made that a law, by the way, the texting while driving in 2013. A lot of police officers and municipalities pull over for it. They do stings all the time here in Minnesota for pulling over. I think it's probably once a month on most highways.
I mean, they should. There's so many people on their phones.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I'm driving, I'm like, why are you driving stupid? Oh, I see.
Distracted driving is a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. Under the 2025 Florida statutes, drivers may not manually type or enter letters, numbers, or symbols into a wireless communications device while operating a vehicle for non-voice communication, such as texting, emailing, or instant messaging. What makes it difficult for a lot of devices, though, is like on a maps program, it doesn't pick up very well verbally. A lot of times you have to type it in order for it to be accurate. Like I can't, on my iPhone, I can't verbally say a lot of, an example, Xerxes Avenue. It does not know how to spell Xerxes Avenue. Xerxes Avenue has 2 X's in it.
Yeah.
When I say Xerxes Avenue, it starts it with a Z.
Yeah, probably a lot of our roads and towns. I mean, we have a lot of things that have really unique names around here that are hard for people to say.
Wayzata Boulevard. It can't spell out Wayzata Boulevard. Wayzata Boulevard, Wayzata, Wayzata. It doesn't know how to properly spell that. If you use the voice function, you have to type it out. Now, a lot of people would say, well, Tim, do it in your driveway and then leave. That's, again, that's what I do before I leave. If I'm going to put it, if I put it in my GPS, I put it in my phone. Again, my phone's connected by a cord to my console. So as I spill my iPad everywhere, but it's connected to my console. So yeah, I enter my GPS coordinates before I leave, so I don't have to touch anything.
Right.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people have to make a switch midway and they don't want to pull over. And that's a lot of time that's how people get caught. There's other times people are just texting and they don't care.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. It's so dangerous. It's so easy, especially when you're driving around the city and you're in the traffic. It just takes one person to stop fast and you're rear-ending someone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Next story here, Jess. By gosh, if this woman is going to break into my house while sleeping and shoot her gun at me twice, sign me up, especially if she's a randy lady, by God. Look at her. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That's a criminal you want to have break into your house, huh, Tim?
I will take her any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Just saying. By gosh. Her name is Amanda Heller, and she's hell on wheels, that's for sure.
That's
Ohio,
a great name.
It is, isn't it? An Ohio woman has been arrested after she allegedly broke into her ex-husband's home while he was sleeping and shot a gun 2 times.
Oh.
Yeah, she's
hot and crazy.
Hot and crazy, that's right. The only way to be,
just how
right?
Tim likes them.
That's just, well, that's my dating history. Amanda Heller was taken into custody at the Corrections Center of Northwest Ohio after she was accused of breaking into her ex-husband's home on April 26th. The 31-year-old Heller allegedly entered the victim's home while he was sleeping, according to a criminal complaint filed in Bryan Municipal Court. After she entered the home, she allegedly threatened to kill her ex-husband and fired 2 rounds of a handgun while in the home. No word on if it hit the ex-husband.
Oh my, I suppose it didn't, or they would tell us, right?
Yeah. Well, the victim's name's not been publicly revealed. WTLO reported that the homeowner had been identified as Heller's ex-husband. Well, then it wouldn't be hard for the local community to know who the guy is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Hellard.
Mr. Heller, that's right. The criminal complaint stated that Heller fired a gun in the man's home 2 times. However, there's no injuries mentioned, and it appears that no one else in the home or was in the home at the time of the shooting. I got to think that there's probably another woman, and she bailed like hell the minute she heard the first shot.
Yeah, so it has to be something like that.
Yeah. No ex shows up with a handgun unless there's not another in the picture.
I mean, unless they're really crazy, but that's usually pretty good fuel to the fire.
Yeah, this doesn't happen over visitation, right?
I mean, not usually.
No. Nearly 1 month after she broke into the home and opened fire, Heller was taken into custody on May 21st. She was initially charged with felonious assault, which, by the way, is a great band name. I don't care who you are. By the way, I came up with this idea for fake band shirts.
Oh, I love that.
I'm thinking about putting them on the website.
Do it. We have so many great band names that come out when we're chit-chatting here.
Right.
Yes.
So
I would wear one with pride.
I have a design already. Like, I was screwing around with this on Friday. I think I can show you one of them. I know I'm getting off topic here. I'll get right back on topic here in a minute. But
sometimes off topic's the best.
I can show you here.
See.
I can show you real quick. Here is the design for a little band I call Chipmunk Mutiny. Right?
I would wear that.
Yeah. Here's another one. I thought this was funny. So I'm talking to intern Yoko, and she goes, yeah, she's on gabapentin, right? She goes, I'm just having problems today with the body jerks, which to me sounded like an old punk band from 1980s, right? From 1982.
I love it.
So I came up with the body jerks, which sounds like the circle jerks. And are you ready for this? The back piece to this shirt made me laugh so goddamn hard I can't stand it. This is probably going to be the first shirt on the site. The Body Jerks, the Jerk Me All Night Long tour, 1982.
That is amazing. I love that so much.
Isn't that funny?
You have to, I mean, you've said it out loud now. We need this.
I think I'm going to put this one on the site first.
Do it.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I'm thinking about fake band shirts now. Just putting up fake band shirts.
Seriously, it comes up so many times when we're doing the show. It makes sense.
Yeah, but felonious assault sounds like a great band name.
And also, what's the name of that that guy in Florida, the sheriff?
Yeah. Grady Judd. Yeah.
Grady Judd fan club. I seriously want a shirt that says
the Grady Judd fan club.
I don't know if we get in trouble for that or not, but I would wear that shirt.
I'll make one. I don't know if he's going to charge us for it, but I'll make a Grady Judd fan club t-shirt. Sure, why not? You know what? That would be good to put under the True Crime Tuesday merchandise, the Grady Judd fan club.
He's on here all the time. I feel like we're like family practically. I hope he listens to the show. I mean, I love him. We're fans.
We'll find probably the dumbest quote we can find for the back piece of the shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty to choose from.
There is, yeah. Back to Amanda Heller. She She was charged with felonious assault, but was indicted for attempted aggravated murder, aggravated burglary, domestic violence, and improperly discharging a weapon at or into a habitation or school after her case was bound over to the Williams County Court of Common Pleas. Her bond was set at $100,000. Now, see, in Ohio, they know how to charge and do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, they know how to do it.
That's right. They're not playing.
They're not playing. You're right, Jess. If she's still in custody, by the way, because she couldn't put up the bond. So if she's able to post bond and is released from custody, she will not be allowed to make any contact with her husband or ex-husband. Heller is next scheduled to appear in court on June 22nd regarding her charges. I'll tell you this much. Maybe she can cut a deal with Daddy over here. Just saying, maybe I could get it out. Yeah.
I'm surprised no one has bailed her out, a girl that's that pretty. Well, I mean, that kind of tells me she's a little extra crazy, Tim.
Yeah, she's young, she's pretty, she's, woo, you know?
It might not be worth it, bud.
Yeah, maybe she's a little too fond of her gun, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. I've told you the story in the past about my younger days when I wasn't afraid to tell jokes at the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out that one kid didn't necessarily tell a joke, but he named his Bluetooth speaker a joke.
Oh.
And it ended up turning around a flight to Spain as a result.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Here's the thing, kids. Don't name your Bluetooth speaker Bomb.
No.
It shows up on the Wi-Fi.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. And it'll get you turned around real quick, especially when they look at the Wi-Fi registry and see that there's a bomb on the Wi-Fi.
There's a bomb on board.
Yeah. A United flight to Spain turns back to Newark after a teen's Bluetooth speaker was named Bomb. United flight 236 from Newark to Palma de Mallorca diverted back to New Jersey on Saturday night over a passenger's Bluetooth signal that was treated as a threat against Boeing 767-400ER in the aircraft. The 4 p.m. departure was initially delayed a couple of hours over a broken panel per passenger reports. About an hour after takeoff, the crew repeatedly announced that all passengers had to turn off their Bluetooth devices or the aircraft would return to Newark. After Bluetooth devices were all still appearing, one passenger says that it was announced that the order was coming from Chicago HQ. A 1-minute final warning was given when 2 remaining devices were showing. A later announcement allegedly said that an individual had something with Bluetooth that was threatening flight safety. A 16-year-old passenger on board turned out to have a Bluetooth speaker named Bomb. Not good. One passenger reports that the teen confessed and that he was taken into custody once they were on the ground.
Do you think it was like just the name that he always had for it? Like,
oh, sure.
It probably wasn't intentional, right? Like he just probably forgot that that was even the name of it.
Well, no, here's the thing, Jess. He's got a speaker for his bomb-ass beats.
Right.
Right? There's a reason it's named Bomb.
Get with it.
I mean, come on. I'm not that old. I can make sense of it. If I can make sense of it, you can. Right?
You're the bomb. I'm the bomb. I guess we can't fly.
We can't fly. Emergency vehicles approached the aircraft. It got this serious after landing, and air stairs met the plane at a remote location. The aircraft was stopped and told to shut down engines as authorities moved in. Yes, they called in the cops and the bomb squad. Passengers deplaned with phones and passports and were reportedly driven around on buses for about an hour and taken back into the airport. Belongings other than phones remained on the plane.
Oh, gosh.
Once in the airport, everyone was screened by security. During their time in the terminal, passengers were issued a $15 meal credit so they could get something to eat.
Well, that was nice of them.
Yeah. Everyone reboarded around 2:30 a.m., so they were delayed like big time. There was some speculation that the product in question would have been the bomb portable Bluetooth speaker. So it was the brand name as well. Duh.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's plausible, but it's not all substantiated. And it seems just as likely to me that the kid thought their music was the bomb. So both bomb-ass beats and the bomb speaker.
What a nightmare for that kid. I mean, honestly.
And to be 16 and have a record, right?
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
And I'm not talking a record like wiki record. I'm talking like record as in like a criminal record.
Yeah.
It was only last week when a United captain gave passengers 30 seconds to turn off an anti-Semitic Wi-Fi hotspot name, or he threatened everyone's phones would be inspected. That happened last week as well. Oh, people. There's no such thing as common sense anymore, Jess.
I mean, it seems like we're lacking it lately.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of common sense, this is the last one before we get to not safe for work.
Really? We just got started, Tim.
Yes, we did. I'm telling you.
Oh.
It's gonna come hot and heavy, so to speak.
It's gonna be a doozy.
And I did choose those words on purpose. Speaking of common sense, and yes, this is one of those common sense stories that you should know better. You're old enough to know better, but still do the act anyways. A Central Florida HOA president was caught pushing a kid off a bike. And wait until you find out how old he is.
Oh, no.
69-year-old Paul Holmes.
Paul.
Faces charges of child abuse and petty theft.
What a psycho.
Mm-hmm. Of course we're in Florida, Jess. Port Orange to be exact.
Obviously.
The president of a homeowners association in Central Florida has been accused of pushing a 12-year-old to the ground during a verbal confrontation. You're 69 years old. There is no such thing as a verbal confrontation with a 12-year-old. You just wish him well and tell him to go see his parents. That according to the Volusia Sheriff's Office. In an arrest affidavit, deputies said that the incident happened on Tuesday at around 8 p.m. At the time, deputies said they were called to Country Club Drive, that kind of figures, where they met with the boy and his grandfather. Their investigators learned that the boy had been riding his bicycle around the nearby clubhouse, but he became tired, so he sat down near the tennis court. So far, no crime is in progress.
Wow, he's just being a good kid.
Right. It said Red acted, obviously the child, stated that he noticed a male, later identified as Paul Holmes, staring at him and making an odd facial expression. The child then he then decided to leave and raised his middle finger towards Paul. I would too if this man were looking at me like this. He looks like a constipated turtle.
Wow, that's the guy who did it?
Yeah, that's the guy who did it.
He's honestly creepy looking.
Yeah. I might flip him the bird too. Afterward, the boy reportedly explained that Holmes approached him, pushed him to the ground and yelled, "Do you know who I am?" Oh, of course, he's one of these guys. Yeah. Per the boy, Holmes then took his bicycle, placed it in his vehicle, and drove away. Well, at that point, you've committed theft. You can't take the kid's bike.
No.
Yeah. Deputies said they spoke with Holmes, who initially refused to return the bicycle before eventually giving in. Paul stated that there had been ongoing issues with juveniles gathering around the clubhouse late at night when the club was closed. Although juveniles had not been observed committing criminal activity, Paul stated that they were not members of the club and therefore had no business being there. Well, there's a tennis court there, jackass.
Yeah.
Maybe the kid was playing tennis. Yeah. Maybe there's a basketball hoop there too. Maybe he was playing basketball. Kids like to play games. Let them play games. At least
they could be out getting in trouble, stealing things, doing bad stuff.
Right. They could be knocking up other kids. Let them play games. Furthermore, Holmes claimed that he took the bicycle so that security could identify the boy and his parents. Follow him home.
Or don't. That's creepy too. Can you imagine?
Yeah. though the HOA president denied intentionally placing his hands on the boy, which he did, obviously. Regardless, Holmes was arrested and now faces charges of child abuse and petty theft. He was released on Wednesday evening on bond. We'll just call him the president of all turtles. All right, so it is now time for Not Safe for Work, Jess, although we're not just going to jump into it. Like any good marathon runner, we got to stretch, right? You know, you just don't run a 5K because it was just
gotta get warmed up. Right.
We got to warm up. So we're going to have a little bit of a stretch story here. A little something to get us warmed up, right? You're not going to believe this story. There's not necessarily a crime going on here, but it should be a crime. You're familiar with the Burning Man festival?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you know they had an orgy dome?
No, I didn't know that was part of it.
I didn't either. You learn something new every day. Well, it turns out that Burning Man's orgy dome is asking for help. They need to replace the damaged infrastructure. Evidently, they go hardcore in the orgy dome. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. It says here in this story, as is customary, and this is from SF Gate or San Francisco Gate.com. As is customary at this point, Burning Man has battled against the elements last year. Rainstorms rocked the playa, it says here, resulting in the ground turning into what our correspondent described as the world's largest bowl of oatmeal. And raging dust storms caused havoc across Black Rock City, putting art installations in jeopardy and causing damage to one of the event's most enduring camps, which is the Orgy Dome. Now, the Orgy Dome is asking for help getting back on its feet. So what did it do? By the way, it's organized by a nonprofit called Consensuality Incorporated. You got to love the... you got to love the group's name.
Consent is important, even in the Orgy Dome.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. The Orgy Dome has operated for over 20 years and typically draws between 8,000 and 10,000 burners each year. That's a lot of people.
Wow. Didn't know that many people were into orgies, but good for them, I guess.
You got to have attendees, right, in the Orgy Dome. They're putting up a GoFundMe. There's 80 mattresses in the Orgy Dome, 34 floor air conditioning units, and 2,000 sets of sheets.
No, they're dirty. Those mattresses, just burn them.
Get out your Lysol.
Oh, right? I'm so disgusted right now.
There's a whiteboard sign placed outside the dome that just states, "We got fucked too hard." Let that sink in for a minute.
Oh, my.
The GoFundMe has a goal of $30,000. At the time of publication, donations, by the way, had reached $22,832. So if you'd like the party to continue, I'm sure you can go find that on your own. I won't post that.
I mean, I feel like there's better things to donate money to, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. They're looking for other budgetary items such as truckloads of lube and safer sex supplies. Sheets, laundry, and power bills will be paid for by camp numbers, they promised on a post on Reddit, which signed off with a very cheeky call to arms. Let's get this thing properly erected.
Wow. So many fun puns they're using.
Yeah. Do you feel properly stretched out now?
I mean, I threw up in my mouth a couple times when you were talking about the sheets and the mattresses, but I'm ready to go. It's only gonna get worse, right?
Yes, it is, because we're going to one of the worst of the worst right away.
Oh, buckle up.
Buckle up, Buttercup. It only gets worse. Our next story has to do with a Phoenix morgue burglary suspect who's accused of sexual contact with dead bodies. Let's just jump right into it, Jess.
Oh, do we have to?
Unfortunately.
Oh.
Yes, this one did come from a listener, by the way. So yes.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, friend.
This one we do have to. We go to Phoenix where 31-year-old Fenris Liu is accused of using a crowbar to break into the Maricopa County Medical Examiner's office and gaining access to corpses. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office says it responded to a 911 call around 1:33 a.m. on May 20th for reports of a possible burglary at the downtown office. According to multiple law enforcement sources, Lou was caught on camera breaking the seal on 11 body bags and having sexual contact with 4 of the bodies.
Wow.
If you ever want to know,
Spreading the love.
You ever want to know what a necrophiliac looks like, Jess? Here he is right here, kids.
Oh my gosh, he looks so creepy. The way his eyes are looking up.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's one dark individual right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't imagine. He's probably got his own orgy tent going on right
That made me like shiver. Like,
yeah.
He's scary.
He is, yeah. Maricopa County Security Services and the Phoenix Police Department were already on scene and assisted in securing the facility. During a subsequent search of the building, one individual was located and ultimately taken into custody without incident, they said. In a court appearance on May 20th, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office representative said officials requested more time to notify the potential victims' families and to see if there was a link to other cases. This might not have been his only go-around. He might have done this before.
I'm sure he has, Tim. This is just the time he got caught.
Yeah. Lou is accused of multiple felonies, including burglary, escape, and 4 counts of sexual conduct with a dead body. He didn't appear in court because the commissioner felt like he was a danger to himself and others. Yee. Cash bond was set at $500,000 with electronic monitoring supervision. If that bond is posted, Lou was given a preliminary hearing date. Actually, he had that preliminary date a couple days ago. I don't have an update as to what happened at that prelim date. So
I hope that he's in jail.
I hope so, too. If not, I got somebody who could probably deal with him, but she's in Texas.
Oh, yeah?
Our next story has to do with the fact that a case was dismissed against a Texas embalmer charged with funeral home mutilation. So maybe we could just pass this guy on to her.
What?
Because he wanted to smash, but she'll smash him.
Aren't these people afraid of being haunted?
Right?
So afraid all these ghosts were going to show up in my bedroom at night.
Right. As part of an agreement with prosecutors, a criminal case has been dropped against a Texas embalmer who last year allegedly mutilated the corpse of a sex offender and then stuffed the decedent's severed penis in his mouth.
Why would she do that?
Right. Well, because the guy was a sex offender, Jess, and she wanted to send him to the afterlife. Instead of coins on his eyelids, she was going to stuff his dick in his mouth.
I know. I mean, I kind of get it, but also, come on.
Right? And if you're wondering who does that, well, it's this lady right here. She's cool as a cucumber. Cool as the other side of the pillow.
All right. Well, if I had to pick between hanging out with her or the last guy, I'm hanging out with her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. She's kind of the Shaft, if you will, of the Undertaker world. A felony charge against 36-year-old Amber Laudermilk was bounced earlier this month in Harris County District Court. A judge granted a dismissal motion filed by prosecutors who noted that an alternative resolution agreement was struck with Laudermilk. In its motion, the prosecution offered a one-line description of that agreement. This is what it said, quote, explanation. Defendant completed a class for dismissal. Wonder what that class entailed. Miss Laudermilk, we don't shove severed dicks in the dead's mouth, right? Yep. Okay, dismissed.
Yep. This is a pass and fail kind of class, Tim.
That's right. Pass, fail. You got it. The complaint's dismissal and the class is not further explained in other court records. According to Texas Funeral Service Commission records, Laudermilk's embalmer's license, which was suspended following her March arrest, expired at the same time the abuse of corpse charge was dismissed. Investigators allege that Laudermilk used a scalpel to disfigure the corpse of 58-year-old Charles Roy Rodriguez, who's a registered sex offender who lived outside Houston. The mutilation occurred shortly after memorial mortuary and crematory workers learned of Rodriguez's criminal history. As alleged in a court complaint, a provisional embalmer told cops that she saw Laudermilk stab decedent Rodriguez twice with a scalpel in the groin, then cut off his penis and place it in the decedent's mouth. Laudermilk cops say told the witness, "You didn't see anything." You know what? If you're still holding that scalpel, you're right. I didn't see a goddamn thing.
Didn't see nothing.
That's right. A funeral director said she saw Laudermilk fondling the mouth of the decedent, adding that the decedent's penis was in his mouth.
So she stuck it in there and then she played with it?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the end of that story. By the way, you remember last week's final story about the wine bottle?
Oh, gosh.
The smoking...
Kim, I'd actually blocked that out of my mind.
The smoking gun had a funny saying for that wine bottle.
Putting the dough in, you know.
I figured I'd have you read it.
That's wonderful.
It's pretty funny. All right. We've got a series of 3 stories about teachers this week.
I hope they don't make me mad.
I didn't come up with all 3 stories. Yes, they were sent in by our lovely audience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. If they're sending it, I'm ready to hear it.
We'll start off. Oh, boy. There's a lot of Florida, a lot of Wisconsin here this week, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Wisconsin is the Midwest Florida, I swear.
Right? It's the Florida of the Midwest, I'm telling you. We'll start off in Florida. A Seminole pre-K teacher is arrested and accused of live streaming himself masturbating while the kids napped.
No.
You're going to need the palate cleanser today. There, my
I hate this man.
Right? By the way, if you ever wanted to know what that guy looks like, you thought you were chilled before. Take a look at this guy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, isn't he one to behold?
Everyone looks so evil today.
I know, right? Oh,
they just need to find him and hand him over to that lady.
Right. I'm telling you.
Chop the penis off.
She would have work for years.
Just put them in a cell together and see what happens.
So parents at Sprout Academy, which I think were named after the little Jolly Green Giant guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds so sweet and innocent.
Yeah. Today they were told that 42-year-old Christopher Mulesky, I think it's Mulesky, had hundreds and hundreds of pictures of our children on his phone.
That bastard.
Yeah. How do you kids feel about that now? A Seminole pre-kindergarten teacher is behind bars facing 51 charges, including multiple child pornography-related offenses. Parents at Sprout Academy in Seminole say they were told by investigators that 42-year-old Christopher Mulesky had hundreds of photos of children from the school on his phone and live streamed himself masturbating in a school bathroom while children were napping.
Where is he live streaming that to?
Right. That's what my question was. Where does this go?
Yeah. Who's watching that live stream? It can't be on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that.
No. Jason Kutch says his 4-year-old daughter was in Mulesky's class. There's a lot of emotions. I'm upset. I'm super sad for my daughter, Kutch told 10 Tampa Bay News. Kutch says parents were first notified that Mulesky was no longer employed at the school in April, but were not told the severity of the allegations. He said the school later sent a second letter saying at no point did any incidents occur at the Sprout Academy. Really?
Okay.
They must have lied about it then. According to Kutch, parents later met with investigators from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office who allegedly provided more details about the case. They informed us about hundreds and hundreds of pictures of our children in his phone, Kutch said. They told us he was live streaming himself masturbating in the bathroom at the school while children were sleeping. So the school lied about it.
Yeah, that's definitely something that happened at the school.
Yeah. Kutch says authorities told parents there is no indication children were physically harmed, but says the uncertainty still weighs heavily on the families. Only 2 people know if something happened, the scumbag and my daughter, Kutch said. There may be a day where she remembers and tells me, and I hope not. Parents say one of the biggest frustrations is what they describe as a lack of transparency from the school. If they were transparent from the get-go, then I know me as a parent, I wouldn't be mad, Kutch said. You wouldn't be? I
would be freaking furious.
I go find the guy and castrate him. I don't know about you.
Honest to God, we would just do it together, Tim.
Yeah. In a statement to 10 Tampa Bay News, Sprout Academy and Mule Sky completed all required state and federal background checks before he was hired, and that no prior complaints had been reported during his employment. The school also said it is cooperating with investigators and reviewing its safety procedures. According to parents, Mule Sky worked at Sprout Academy for about 9 months as a voluntary pre-K teacher, pre-kindergarten. I'm having such a hard time reading this story because I'm outraged.
Oh.
The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office has not publicly commented further on the investigation, probably because they don't want to get in trouble.
Nobody wants to talk about this. Like, there's nothing you can say. It's horrifying. Just let the parents loose on him.
Right? I mean, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous to think about.
It's horrifying because there's so little, and you don't know if he was doing something to them that they just didn't speak about. He probably, if he did something, I'm sure he told them not to tell anyone and scared them.
Not only that, but now you're waiting for a child to come forward and say something, you know?
I hope no one does. I hope it really was just he took pictures and then he whacked it in the bathroom. I mean, that's horrible. Like,
that's incredible.
Not that that's
horrible.
Just, but it's better than...
Right. But then he's got... Oh, God. Just thinking about it is horrifying. But then he's got pictures of your children, right?
Yeah. Oh, that'd make me so mad.
I mean, just that alone is horrifying. And I mean, who's to say what networks he sold those pictures off to?
Yeah, and how many other perverts are out there whacking to him?
Or potentially targeting your children for kidnapping?
Ugh.
I mean, it's...
Yikes.
My mind spirals off to different scenarios, you know? I mean, I don't stop at, you know, it was just for his own personal pleasure. You know, screw that. I mean, if this guy is live streaming himself to different sites, that means he's in contact with other perverts.
Yeah. There's such an underground network for all of this, which is so terrifying. And there always has been. I mean, it's been a really long time. We're just like seeing the tip of the iceberg with some of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I don't buy that this is an isolated incident. He's connected, and it's, you know, this isn't like the other two stories that are here, which are a little lighter. I started off with the heaviest, darkest story first, to give you the other two lighter stories. Not that any one of these stories is lighter than the other. This one was sent in by, I believe it was it Tony that sent this in, or another listener? By the way, I want to thank everybody who sends in stories. It's, you know, I may forget names at times, which, again, I've had 7 concussions and post-concussive syndrome. So if I forget names,
you're old.
Yeah, that too. But, you know, there's probably 7 or 8 different people that send in stories every week.
Yeah, we appreciate them, you guys.
We appreciate each and every one of you. This one from Wisconsin. A Wisconsin teacher was arrested after an alleged sexual relationship with a 14-year-old student. Now, when Van Halen sat down and wrote Hot for Teacher, it was not about this one right here. Definitely not about her.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you why. It's about the contents of the story here, Jess. This is... A teacher in Wisconsin has been arrested for allegedly having a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old boy. Keisha Stewart made her first appearance in court on May 26th after she was charged with second-degree sexual assault of a child. Only sexual assault of a child. Wisconsin has weird laws. It wasn't just sexual assault. This is outright rape, and let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Also charged with exposing a child to harmful material and sexual misconduct by a school staff member. Here's what happened. Stewart's cash bond was set at $40,000 cash bond, and she's scheduled to return to court on June 4th for a status conference. It's not currently clear if the 31-year-old Stewart has entered a plea or retained legal counsel regarding the charges. The Menasha Police Department had no additional information to share about the case when contacted by Us Weekly. Investigations involving the safety and well-being of children are a top priority for the Menasha Police Department. Lieutenant of Investigations Peter Sawyer said in a statement on Facebook, "Our department remains committed to protecting children, dedicating the necessary resources to these cases, and working with partner agencies to investigate those who seek to exploit vulnerable individuals." With that said, authorities became aware of the allegations against Stewart when the school found a letter that the teacher gave to the teenager. While it has not been revealed what the letter said, the letter raised those suspicions, and the school quickly contacted police to report their findings, that according to Fox 11. While speaking to authorities, the boy confirmed that the relationship with his teacher became inappropriate. Authorities also looked through the boy's phone, where they found a video of Stewart removing her clothing. This was just the beginning of things. The boy also described various sex acts that he and Stewart allegedly engaged in. So this is where the top comes off everything, right?
Mm.
Stewart declined to comment about the charges at the time of her arrest. According to the complaint, the Menasha Police Department said in the Facebook statement that Stewart works at Fundamental Schools at the time of her arrest, which is a private school, not part of the Menasha Joint School District. According to the Fundamentals LLC Facebook page, the school offers programming for youth in need of support due to emotional, behavioral, or mental health challenges that occur in schools or at home or in the community. So she took advantage of a needs student.
Wow, there is a special place in hell for people that do that sort of thing.
They say an investigation into the case remains ongoing. Due to the active and sensitive nature of the investigation, no additional information will be released at this time, according to police. Yeah. I mean that case is disgusting on top of it. This one has a little bit, I got this one as well from a listener, and this one's, I hate to say typical Alabama, but here we go. This one's got a little bit of more of a comedic twist to it, if there's such a thing. But it's not really comedic when you're talking about sex abuse in school, but...
No, it's not comedic, but we'll laugh because it's awkward.
It's the excuse the teacher's giving.
Ugh, gross.
Which, by the way, what is it? But, I saw this on Reddit the other day. Somebody on Reddit said, what is it with female teachers these days? These are the ones that we have to look out for.
I mean, it's kind of scary, but true.
It's the not middle age, but it's the 30-year-old and up female teachers that are getting over on everybody.
And they look normal. I mean, both of these women look perfectly normal.
Yeah, these are two brunette female teachers who are out there getting their groove back on teenagers, evidently.
Yeah, with kids.
Yeah.
Gosh.
What is that? There's plenty of desperate men in the bars and online. Why not pick on them?
Guys are easy.
They are incredibly easy. They're horny animals. Why do you need to go after kids?
It's like a power thing, I think. I don't know. And I got to think there's people that abuse children have to be people who were abused themselves. That's the only thing that can make sense, which is tragic, but also get therapy and move on.
Right. This next story has to do with an Alabama coach who had sex with a student who wants her charges dropped. And her reason is making people furious. Are you ready for this? Tell me if you're
ready to be mad.
Tell me if you're just as outraged, Jess. An Alabama high school girls basketball coach who was married and recently slapped with 32 criminal charges because of allegations that she engaged in sex acts with an 18-year-old boy wants it all wiped off the table.
And why is that, Tim?
Well, according to prosecutors, just 35-year-old Paige Adams has been charged in connection with the incident that occurred between the two while she was coaching Cold Springs High School's basketball team. She has pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Prosecutor alleges that Paige Adams has been sending obscene content to the boy on a total of 28 occasions within a period of 3 weeks, ranging from February 13th to March 9th. Also, before she resigned from work in April, the prosecutor said that she had been requesting obscene pictures from the teenager. According to court records released on Monday, Paige Adams has, through her legal representative, asked that all 32 indictments against her be dismissed, claiming that the boy was neither her student nor her player.
That doesn't make it okay.
He's
still a kid.
She argues that she therefore did not have any educational or scholastic extracurricular authority over him.
Oh, all right. You're fine then.
Yeah, so go ahead and screw the kid. Who cares?
Jeez.
Judge Emily Johnson has scheduled a hearing in the matter for August 12th. Before Paige's arrest, by the way, she had been celebrated for leading the Cold Springs Eagles girls basketball team to a state title. However, her husband, who coaches the boys basketball team from the same school, is seeking a divorce and full custody rights of their baby.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I say he has a good case. He might win.
So. Yeah, I think he's getting full custody. Yeah.
Yikes. Was the boy 18 when all this was going down? I mean, does she feel justified because he was...
Oh, he's a minor because everything's stricken from the record.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's 18 now. Boy.
Yeah. But, she didn't teach him and she wasn't his coach. So,
There's a whole wide world of a dating pool out there if you want to find a boyfriend.
Yep.
Don't find him in the classroom.
So she said, because I didn't coach him and I didn't teach him, the bang bus is open. Let there be sex, she says.
Oh, gross, Tim.
All right, let's switch gears here. You might have remembered a story from earlier this year where a woman went into the fridge at work and grabbed a coworker's Stanley Cup. And it was in Florida.
Okay.
We'll tell you why she went in there. Slap on the wrist for a woman in a breast milk container caper.
No. She's stealing breast milk to drink herself?
Well, we'll tell you here.
Okay.
The Florida woman who stole a coworker's Stanley Cup so she could use it to store her breast milk has accepted responsibility for the theft. And as part of a deal with prosecutors, will complete a shoplifting awareness course. I didn't know that was a thing.
They make little bags for that. It comes with the pump.
Well, but a Stanley container keeps it nice and cold.
I guess.
Yeah. As part of a pretrial intervention agreement, 29-year-old Ariana Moss will pay fines and court costs related to her theft case. The PTI agreement notes that admitting to the crime is the first step in rehabilitation. Hey, those Stanley Cups are expensive.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
I know.
But they're good at storing breast milk. The baby can tell the difference,
So that baby only wants to drink out of a Stanley Cup. That's why. These kids are so high maintenance these days.
They really are. The misdemeanor will be dismissed upon Moss's successful completion of the 6-month PTI program, according to a May 27th court filing. Moss was arrested in January for swiping a 40-ounce insulated tumbler owned by a female coworker at a recreation complex in Largo, Florida, before Moss stole a $60 item. $60 in Largo, Florida for a Stanley Cup?
Oh, I believe it. We had to get those for Christmas gifts a few years ago, and it was crazy.
Whoa. A witness told cops she had pointed to it and mused, "This cup would be great to hold my breast milk." A surveillance camera recorded Moss hiding the stolen Stanley Cup in her lunchbox before she exited the Highland Recreation Center, where she worked as a supervisor. Per the PTI deal, Moss, who quit her job 3 days after the theft, has been barred from having any contact with the rec center. All right, Jess, we have only 3 more.
Okay, we're getting through it.
See, it's like a marathon, right? It's like, we've run that race, right?
Yeah, strap on your vomit bag and just go.
Oh, you're feeling the burn, right?
But the worst is behind us, right, Tim? Right?
The worst part of the marathon is when you're in that last third, right? When you're
I guess you get to the end and you're pooping your pants and peeing down your leg.
Yep, legs are burning so bad. Do you think they're going to fall off? Speaking of burn,
oh no.
We go to the friendly skies, or are they friendly? Man's penis is badly burnt in an airline coffee spill.
Oh no, not his willy.
Yeah, we all gotta take one for the team. By the way, this is what it looks like when someone burns up your little guy in a coffee spill.
Oh, is that the guy? He looks so happy. Well, that has to be before the burn.
I think it was probably before the burn. Yeah. Guy's name is Nicholas Gibbs. Man said his life will never be the same again after his penis was severely burned when a cup of hot coffee spilled onto him on a Virgin Atlantic flight. Well, look at it this way. It's a second virginity. Right?
The irony of the flight.
I know. 41-year-old Nicholas Gibbs from Harpenden, Herefordshire, said it had happened in December of last year on a flight from Las Vegas to London Heathrow. Gibbs, a full-time carer. It looked like career.
Oh.
A full-time carer for his mother. It's a full-time career to get coffee spilled on your crotch. A full-time carer for his mother said he was in so much pain he was not able to look after her properly. What do you push her around with your dick? What I don't get it. He was not able to look after her properly and had started legal action. Is it an incestuous relationship at home?
Let's really beg the question. What were you doing with your mother that was so impacted by a burnt penis?
Yeah. Why did you need your cock to look after your mom? I mean, that's an unusual deal. If I were a judge, that's the first thing I'm asking. Why did you need your willy to look after Ma?
What criminal charges should I put on you for what you're doing to your poor mother?
That's right. That's elder abuse, sir. And I think I'm charging you in court today.
Oh, goodness.
Unless she enjoys it, then it's not elder abuse at all. A spokesperson for the airline apologized and said the safety and well-being of customers and our people are always top priority. Well, not if you're spilling coffee in his crotch. It's not safety at all, right?
Piping hot coffee, too. I mean, how hot is it? I've never had a cup of coffee on an airplane that was so hot that it would, disable me. It's usually okay, it's warm enough. I guess I can drink it.
I'm about to tell you how hot it was, Jess.
How hot was it?
I think this guy's a little bit of a perv. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I guess.
Gibbs said that after the incident, he was given paracetamol and loose-fitting pajamas and told there would be medical support when he landed, but this never materialized.
Okay.
This is Virgin Atlantic is full service.
I mean, he just had pajamas on board for him? That's wild to me.
Right. If you were flying, I don't know. I don't want to name them outright, but they pretty much just give you a towel.
Even, and maybe a paper towel or a Kleenex.
Yeah, and say just mop it up. He says at this stage, my penis was badly blistered and the bandage they put on had fallen off. They put it on for him.
Wow, that was nice of them.
Yeah. He said there had been no follow-up calls, no correspondence, and nothing. The burn had healed, but it had a massive effect on his life and his mental health. Wait a minute. So it's like there's no scar, no nothing, but you
should mentally,
you
PTSD.
Can't look at it the same again. Does it smell like Colombia in the morning, or what is it about it that you can't get over?
I mean, I love the smell of coffee, so that wouldn't bother me at all. I'd be like, this is an upgrade.
Bonus, right? My cock smells like
It used to smell
Starbucks.
sweaty. Now it smells like coffee.
Yeah. Every time I take off my pants, I think I'm at Dunkin' Donuts. I mean,
All the girls are like, smells like Starbucks.
Yeah. Wow. Do I get a biscotti with this? But no, I mean, Gibbs said he and his partner, Claire, who was with him on the flight, had hoped she would be pregnant by now, and that he had not been able to look after his mother as much as he would have liked. What is it about his mother?
I just don't even want to know, if I'm being honest.
I think Claire has competition.
I think so, too.
He added, "It's my manhood, and it will never be the same again."
It sounds like it is exactly the same, Tim.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like anything changed. Gibbs said a lidless cup of coffee fell into his lap. He claimed the tray table was badly slanted and too flimsy to carry food and drink. He said, "I was in absolute agony, but also in complete shock as the excruciating pain was just unbearable." He said 20 minutes later, he had been given a bottle of water to pour on his lap. I then spent, that's more than you would have got at some airlines.
I mean, if you're his girlfriend, are you just looking at him like, come on, man up a little bit?
Yeah,
like,
right? Yeah.
I'm sure it hurt in the moment.
Yeah.
And I would have a lot of sympathy for my husband if he had hot coffee spilled on his junk in the moment. But if we're like 6 months out and he's still bitching about it, I'd be like, dude, I freaking gave birth to 3 humans.
Right. Yeah.
You think you're never going to be the same?
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Yeah, come on now. He said, I then spent around an hour sitting on it. Here. Okay, you're going to love this part. This is where Virgin really is full service. And if this airline is doing this on a regular basis, I'm spilling my own coffee on my dick every time I'm on this airline. You ready for this?
Oopsie doops.
He said, I then spent around an hour sitting on a soaking wet chair before they finally applied burn cream on my penis and put a bandage on it.
Oh, do you think they train them for that? Like,
is that a thing?
I don't know. Like, the flight attendant training school includes penis burns?
I know this much.
I feel like, here's a Band-Aid, here's some ointment. Deal with yourself, my friend.
Right. Do it yourself, right? That's kind of a treat yourself type deal. I'm otherwise, I'm flying Virgin Atlantic from here on out and they're like, oh, I burned my penis. Come on over. Come on over. Look, I already got my pants down.
Not the big burly guy, though. I want that flight attendant.
I don't need the male attendant. Bring the cute female attendant over here. I need her to put the cream on. If you would, could you just rub it up and down the shaft about 50, 60, 70 times? Really slow. And
a little more cream, please.
If you could, spit on it. No, I'm kidding.
A little more ointment.
Yeah, a little more ointment. What kind of service is that on an airline?
I don't even know what to say about this situation.
Is this for real? This is from this. The story is not made up, folks. It's from the BBC.
Yeah. If I was that flight attendant, I would be like, I literally don't get paid enough to put ointment on your penis.
Thomas Ruffley of Hudgel Solicitors, which is representing Gibbs, said this is an extreme case, but the number of injuries that have occurred from hot drink spillages caused by cups sliding off sloping and defective tray tables continues to rise at a worrying rate.
I mean, don't have them put it on your table if it's slanted. Just take it in your freaking hand.
Right.
You can see if your tray table's slanted.
Yeah. Virgin Atlantic spokesperson said our cabin crew are highly trained to deliver drinks safely with hot drinks served below boiling temperature and filled to below the brim in specially designed cups or mugs.
They're also highly trained at triage for penis burns.
They'll even give mouth to mouth if they have to.
This is like a massage parlor gone wrong in the air. It's so weird.
I know. But a good thing, evidently.
Or gone right, I suppose, depending on how you look at it.
Right. Do you think poor Claire is sitting there watching this happen? Do you think she's like, I could do that for you? And he's like, no, this is a highly skilled medical procedure. And do you think they put on gloves beforehand, or do you think it's bare hand to bare cock?
I mean, I hope they put on gloves.
Because then you gotta get the flight attendant after she's massaged his dick, and then you're the one
she's put the ointment on.
Yeah, and then can you imagine she comes up to you and goes, "Cookies or nuts? Cookies or nuts?" Right?
And I'm like throwing up in my little travel bag thing they give you. I'll have none, thank you.
I don't want his nuts. I'll take the cookies. It said it could not comment on they could not comment on the specifics of the case due to an ongoing investigation, but the hot drink service was suspended when cabin conditions were unsuitable due to actual or anticipated turbulence. So they know when to give you your coffee and when not to.
Yeah.
So, all right, our next story. I'm going to show you a picture of two fine young people. One's a judge, and one looks like he's a police officer.
Yes. They look like good, upstanding people.
That's right. Two people serving our community when they're not serving each other, if you know what I mean.
Uh-oh.
Wink, wink. We're going to Atlanta, Jess, where it's hot and steamy in Atlanta, especially in this federal judge's chamber. The headline is Federal Judge's Chamber of Sexual Secrets. A jurist held frequent noisy workday trysts in her Atlanta office. This will be fun. A federal judge in Atlanta turned her chambers into a hot sheets motel where she carried on an extramarital affair with a local police commander. While law clerks in earshot of these sexual trysts had to endure the sounds of moaning and intimate contact.
Oh, my.
Right. Speaking of bang the gavel.
I mean.
By the way to go, Judge Ross. She's 58 years old and she's still,
She's not dead yet, Tim.
That's right. When first confronted in late 2025 with the allegations about her workplace behavior, 58-year-old Eleanor Ross lied to her judicial superiors, claiming in writing the charges were outrageous and baseless. Ross, who was nominated to the federal bench in 2013 by President Barack Obama, asserted that accounts about some very inappropriate conduct were fabricated by a disgruntled law clerk. I have never engaged in sexual intercourse in my office nor anywhere in the courthouse, Ross wrote in her initial response to Chief Judge William H. Pryor, Jr. However, shortly after a special committee appointed by Pryor began its investigation, questioning witnesses, examining courthouse sign-in logs and security footage, and even testing a stained couch cushion for evidence of semen.
Oh.
Now we're getting there.
Get out the what is it, the black light?
The black light, yes. Yeah. Ross abruptly changed her tune.
Busted.
Whoops. Oh, you're going to look at that couch cushion? I call that one butt support. The married judge, her spouse is a state court judge, admitted engaging in a 2-year affair with the police official, during which time they had sex in her office. Her original dismissal of the allegations, Ross said, was absolute dishonesty in denying the sexual misconduct in which I clearly engaged. That's a quote by her. Fearful of the impact disclosure of the chamber's romps would have on her personal life and already troubled marriage, Ross claimed she rashly submitted false statements. The special committee investigation was first revealed in February in an order signed by Pryor. The filing indicated that the Judicial Council of the 11th Judicial Circuit, which includes federal courts in Georgia, had adopted the findings and recommendations in the committee's 20-page final report. It took 20 pages to list that?
There must have been a lot. That must have been some kinky stuff.
It must be detailed. It must be like a penthouse forum letter is what it must be like. That misconduct finding was affirmed on May 22nd by the Judicial Conference's Judicial Conduct and Disability Committee. Ain't nobody disabled in this story, I'll tell you that much. when the committee report or provides a detailed description of a federal judge's misconduct and reckless behavior and includes law clerk accounts of overhearing moaning and kissing sounds and other noises consistent with intimate activity, the document does not leave out, or it does leave out some important details. Like the name and sex of the judge, the identity of the police commander, which, by the way, we know now thanks to the New York Post. Oh. They reported it earlier. And the location of the courthouse where the frequent lunchtime assignations took place. The document only refers to the investigation's target as subject judge and witnesses as law clerk A, law clerk B, and law clerk C. The judge's uniformed paramour is identified as the commander of a certain division and of a certain police department. However, the smoking gun identified Ross as the subject judge following a detailed examination of the committee report, as well as a review of related federal court and public records. Additionally, a source familiar with the aspects of the judicial investigation identified Ross as the probe's target and said that the police official with whom she had cavorted was 55-year-old deputy chief of the Atlanta Police Department, Kelly Collier. Collier is commander of the APD's Community Service Division. A law clerk answering the phone in Ross's chamber said Judge Ross has no comment at this time. When asked about the judicial report about activities in her office, an email to Collier's APD address returned an out-of-office reply saying that he would be away from work until next week. Hopefully he's not cavorting with anyone else and would have limited access to email. Collier's LinkedIn page appears to have been deleted.
Oh. Just disappear.
Yeah. The judge, by the way, the committee noted, has expressed utter remorse for lying and agreed to issue letters of apology to 6 former law clerks and interviewed during the special committee investigation. According to the group's final report, hearing the subject judge engaging in intimate contact in the judge's office had a significant negative effect on the law clerks and created a deeply uncomfortable working environment. By the way, Ross does remain on the bench in courtroom 1708 in the U.S. courthouse in Atlanta. In the coming days, she's scheduled to handle detention and change of plea hearings, as well as a trial of defendants charged in a COVID-19 fraud scheme. On Wednesday, she will preside over a motion hearing in connection with the Trump administration's lawsuit seeking a statewide voter registration list from Brad Raffensperger, who is Georgia's Secretary of State. So she's still an active judge. I mean, not like active judge, but she's an active.
I mean, not as active as she was before, but.
No, because old man's on vacation. So, you know what I mean? And we dedicate our last story today, Jess, to our colleague, Mally Fox.
Oh.
Who last week admitted that she's hooked on Taco Bell in her local neighborhood. She said that since the Taco Bell has moved into her neighborhood, she can't get enough Taco Bell.
It is yummy.
I believe that had she not been married to Mr. Fox, that I found her soulmate.
Oh, someone else equally addicted?
Oh, you could say that. And he's in Florida. And he's the subject of our next story.
All right, Mally, you got to move to Florida now.
That's right. Well, Mr. Fox may have a problem with this. But I believe I found him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Here he is. We end our last story in Florida, where a Florida man has been nabbed outside a Taco Bell with his pants down and a live fish named Baja Blast.
Wait. A live fish named Baja Blast?
In his backpack.
Oh, okay.
It's his fish. He's named him Baja Blast, but he also had his pants down.
His pants are down and he's got a fish. Okay.
And he was also doing a little Baja Blast, if you know what I mean.
I mean, he had to have done. But was the fish alive? Was it in a bag of water? I'm worried about the fish.
Well, you should be. I'll explain all here, Chess. We're not leaving any details out.
Please don't.
You know me. I never leave any details out. We go to Palm Coast, Florida, where a Florida man is behind bars after deputies say he was found with his pants down outside a Palm Coast Taco Bell and with a live fish in his backpack. Just before 1 a.m. on Wednesday, employees at the State Road 100 Taco Bell reported a man having suspiciously near a side door he was behaving suspiciously near a side door of the restaurant. He loves Taco Bell that much. When deputies with the Flagler County Sheriff's Office arrived, 28-year-old Brandon Irizarry was still outside the business with his pants dropped, or as the authorities said, with his chimichanga out. That's a direct quote. I think your mic is off.
Oh, my goodness.
He quickly became covering himself when law enforcement approached.
It was a private moment between him and Taco Bell.
It was, yes. Yes. He was just there thinking of chalupas with his chimichanga out when here come the cops. After his arrest, deputies say they discovered a live betta fish in a plastic container inside his backpack.
That's just so weird. The whole thing is weird, but then you throw a fish in his backpack, and my brain is like, what is happening?
That's right. The fish, later named Baja Blast, was turned over to the Flagler County Humane Society, where staff says it's doing well.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
He's had a very traumatic experience with his human masturbating at Taco Bell.
Well, that poor fish was shooken up. I mean, can you just imagine going, in the back of a backpack for...
Shaken fish syndrome.
Yeah, shaken fish syndrome for at least 2 minutes. I mean, we have many questions. We do not have any answers, the agency said, noting the fish appears healthy. I don't know how they test that, but they did. Sheriff Rick Staley commented on the case, saying, in Flagler County, if you can't keep your business in order, you may find yourself at the Green Roof Inn.
Is that the prison?
Yeah, I think so. Irizarry was booked on account of indecent exposure and transported to Sheriff Perry Hall inmate detention facility on a $5,000 bond. So evidently frisking your Mexican pizza and doing it in the presence of wildlife will get you a $5,000 bond.
Yeah, you can't do that. But if we're picking perverts today, since we had so many, and if I had to be alone in a room with one of them, I'd probably pick this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he
seems the least horrifying.
Pretty harmless,
Yeah, it's just him, his chalupa, and a fish. I mean...
Yeah, he just wanted to drip some of his salsa all over the side of a Taco Bell.
I can look the other way. That's fine.
You can look the other way.
Better than the guy doing corpses.
With that, we need a palate cleanser.
We do. I hate to tell you this, Tim. As you're reading these stories, Phoebe Buffet is over here vomiting on my floor. I'm not even kidding.
Yes! When I've made Phoebe...
If you notice, my head popped down for a little bit. I was trying to clean up a little vomit off her chin.
Oh, my God. That's horrible. I mean, it's horrible, but it's funny.
You broke my dog.
I broke your dog. I know it's a successful program then, Jess.
You did well.
It's a two-part palate cleanser because we need it today. The first one, funny. The second part, inspiring.
Good. I like inspiring.
That's right. I figure I've committed enough crimes against women today. I'll have one inspiring female story at the end of our...
I deserve a little inspiration after being traumatized.
Yeah. The theme of this particular palate cleansers, guys, we've effed up enough. It's time for women to rule the world, and here's how we do it. The first part of this, Jess, stupid guys, here's your sign. The comedian who says, here's your sign?
Yeah.
Well, literally in Wisconsin, Jess, again, the Florida of the North, this idiot was driving his truck and literally didn't see the sign. There was a sign that said road closed. So he kept driving.
He just drove into the wet concrete like he's part of the road now.
Yep, he's part of the road. He drove straight into some wet concrete, as Jess just said. and went right through the
goodness.
road closed sign. A truck gets stuck in wet concrete after a driver ignores the road closed sign. We go to Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, where officials in Wisconsin say a driver ignored a road closed sign, then found out why it was there the hard way. Video from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation shows a pickup truck that got stuck in wet cement May 12th on an interstate ramp in Milwaukee County. Officials say the driver physically removed a road closed barrier before driving into the freshly poured concrete. That's how you know you're dumb.
It's a true litmus test.
That
stupidity.
That's a guy who's going to win the Darwin Award. That's for sure. The truck ended up stuck, but he was pulled out that same day. In other words, he had to sit in the truck for a while before they came and got him.
I guess, like if he got out, he'd be stuck in the concrete too.
That's right. Officials are now reminding drivers that crews place barriers like this for both your safety and theirs, and you should never ignore or remove them. So in other words, dumbass, there's a reason why it's there. There's your sign.
Don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot. And guys, this is why girls should be ruling the world. We've had our turn. We've failed miserably. It's just time to turn over the keys. I'm going to show you a picture here, Jess. These ladies, these young ladies right here, are future entrepreneurs and have done a wonderful thing for one little one. Do you see this picture right here?
I do.
And what they've done? These future Girl Scouts took $200 of their cookie money and they 3D printed out a pediatric wheelchair.
Aww.
Yeah. A group of Girl Scouts. Yeah. This is in Dorchester, Massachusetts. A group of Girl Scouts used their cookie sale proceeds to benefit other children while learning new skills along the way. A Girl Scout troop of 8 third-grade students in Dorchester, Massachusetts, used nearly $200 of its profits from this year's cookie sales to make a 3D printed toddler mobility trainer. So this is for little ones, which is a type of wheelchair for kids with mobility challenges. And actually, I have a bigger picture of it here, and here's a picture of the ladies with that right there.
That's so sweet.
Isn't it? They've done that all themselves. So I'll tell you exactly how they did it, which is ingenious. So what they did, the girls' troop leader, Corinne Curran, which is a great name, told ABC News the wheelchair took about 200 hours to print using a 3D printer, less than an hour for the troop to build. So they did it all themselves. Yeah.
Technology can be amazing.
Isn't it? She said the girls were inspired to build a wheelchair for a fellow child after taking a troop visit to Curran's employer, who's the Boston Home, which is a residential care center for adults with neurological conditions. Curran said the troop members, which include her daughter, were obsessed with wheelchairs after their visit and were all on board when they learned that they could make their own child-size wheelchair with 3D printed parts. They were so excited, Curran said, adding, one of the cool parts about Girl Scouts is they know how to earn this money and they can see where it's going and how they can use it to do good and make the world a better place. According to the Girl Scouts, profits from a troop's cookie sales go directly to the troop and to their local Girl Scout council. Each troop may decide how the money is used, whether for troop activities, trips, or community service projects. The multicolored mobility trainer the Girl Scouts built features an adjustable headrest, a cup holder, a removable push handle, and more, according to Curran. And actually, here's one more picture of, look at how ingenious this is. Look at that.
It's so cool. I can't believe they made that with a 3D printer.
A 3D printer, it takes 1 hour.
Yeah, it's multicolored. I mean, I kind of think it would be like bland and boring. It's all the color, like all the primary colors are in there.
That almost looks like something you buy at a store.
Yeah, it looks like a toy.
Yeah. It's like it's just amazing. It looks like something like Fisher Price or any of the toy companies would make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a statement to ABC News, the Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts and Girl Scouts of the USA CEO Bonnie Barchikowski, I believe her name is, said they were proud to see that the Dorchester Troop put its cookie sale money toward making the world a better place. She said they're using their cookie earnings selflessly to give back, and in the process, they're not just building skills, they're making a real difference in their communities. What makes it even more powerful is that this kind of impact grows out of experiences they genuinely enjoy, moments of discovery, friendship, and confidence as they figure out who they are and what they care about. Look at that. I love those stories.
I know. What a great way to end this show.
Yeah. So way to go, girls. See, that's why someday you're going to end up ruling the world, and you're going to have your husbands sitting around drinking a beer, picking their ass. Just saying.
Crying over a burned penis that's totally
right.
healed, and there's nothing wrong with it at all.
That's right. Why they burn their dick on a flight, trying to drink a cup of coffee. Oh, with that, Jess, tell us one more time about the wonderful program that you have up right now that people can go out and get.
Yeah, if you guys are interested and want to check it out, you can find my online course on my website, jessicafreeberg.com. It's called Stop Shrinking, and it's something you can do in your own time. It's 4 lessons and pretty easy. And then you get access to an online community where we can chat and just encourage each other and be positive together.
Excellent. All right. This week on the program, Mally Fox is in tomorrow for Supernatural News, and a little bit of a teaser for Thursday. We're talking Bigfoot.
My favorite.
Yeah, with an experienced Bigfoot hunter. So there you go. Yeah.
I can't wait.
There you go. So that's what we got on tap for this week. Other than that, again, check out the store, darknessradioshow.com to support the show. The app, make sure you've got it updated. And that's about it. That's what we got for you this week. Again, go to Jess's site, check out that program, and change your life, folks. And start learning how to negotiate this world without necessarily being violent. Negotiate this world, do more for yourself, and start to take more control of your life. I guarantee you're going to change the way you operate with this program. I truly do believe Jess has those answers for you. So go check it out. If you don't necessarily get it off the description of this program or any of our social media sites, because we're going to repost what Jess put up on social media, then just go straight to our website, jessicafreeberg.com. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Supernatural News with Mally Fox. For Jessica Freeberg, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for listening and watching the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.